If you're active in the GTA Online PvP scene, you most likely know about Ghilliemaster. He's a fine channel that gets people introduced to the basics. He also keeps you informed about weekly updates for GTA Online. If you're not using other sources, I actually don't have a problem with his edutainment factor. Too much. It's surface level, but it genuinely is okay if you're starting out. Although, today's video is not for the faint of heart. I will remind you that this is fair use and simply taking the while giving some thoughts of my own, now that I've been around the scene for a bit. We love you, Ghilbert. Ghilbert has some rebalance videos for GTA Online, and thanks to some suggestions from a friend, I decided to rewatch these videos with my pals and see what we think about them now in the current state of GTA Online. That's right, I made a tier list about his rebalance videos. Specifically for his vehicle rebalance videos, where I wanted to look at each one and judge it based on how sensible and healthy it really is for GTA Online. Let's dive right in. Starting the recording, we're gonna go over here.
Wait, before we need to do something important.
What?
Gilly.
I already have the video.
No, we have to title it on our general voice.
Oh.
The Gilly hate watch? That's great.
As it's become abundantly clear throughout the lifespan of GTA Online, Rockstar
Cinematic.
is not the best when it comes to their game balancing. Vehicles that are added to the game are either extremely overpowered, extremely underpowered, or are made with just nonsensical design choices that could either be described as anti-fun or lazy. And we've
Correct.
thrown weapons to that bunch. Issued by
Cabbage, can
modifying
you
the
put
vehicle or weapon
subtitles on,
straight-
please? Closed caption.
Can't you hear?
I can't see what he's saying.
You can't. Oh
Can you-
my fucking
This guy
God.
watches every video with captions. That's crazy.
He doesn't even have actual captions. These are auto-generated, I think. Hold on.
It's better than nothing.
Oh my ears?
Not really.
It's not. You're just gonna get misinformation.
Subject is none other than the B-11 Strike Force, one of the coolest planes in the game in my opinion, and the only attack plane to include barrage missiles in its repertoire. The B-11 Strike Force was released as part of the After Hours drip feed in the summer of 2018 to mostly negative reactions from the community. So, where did this plane go wrong? For starters, the B-11 is based off of the A-10, which is known for having an insanely strong gun on the front, and in-game, it just doesn't share that same feeling. Call it satire all you want, it doesn't change the fact that the cannon is just useless. On top of that, the Strike Force has handling that is very uncharacteristic for a plane of this stature. In-game, it can compete with some of the best dogfighting jets, which doesn't make any sense to me as its real-life counterpart isn't meant to be a dogfighter. So our objectives for a B-11 Strike Force rebalance are to first buff the cannon to better suit the real-life counterpart, while at the same time not making it too overpowered to avoid creating another overpowered spray and pray cannon jet like the laser and the Hydra. We want the vehicle to be fun and balanced, not something that you get annoyed with every time you see it flying in the air. And to follow up with the cannon buff it will be receiving, we will also be changing its handling quite heavily to give it a weakness for its strong cannon. Taking a look at the vanilla game code for the B-11 Strike Force cannon, and I know this probably seems...
Don't care. Don't care. Don't care.
This indicates that the B-11's explosive rounds operate on the exact
Don't
same
care.
properties of the
Don't
Rogue
care.
Explosive
Are
MG,
you
so we will
cat?
modify that file a little bit later. Coming to our first change to be made though, the rate of fire. The code calls it time between shots, but it's basically the same thing. The default value is 0.125, which means a shot is fired every 0.125 seconds, which also gives it a rate of fire of around 480 RPM if my math is correct. We went ahead and changed that value to 0.025.
Yeah, if it's correct.
Which brings its rate of fire to 2400 RPM, 5 times more
Hey,
than the
math
putrid
is hard.
5 times more RPM. So this is not as bad as what he does on the Mark II later.
fire. I gave it a slight increase just for dramatic effect, so the cannon doesn't instantly fire when you press the button. There's a slight delay, but it's not too much. And the final
Let me
thing we
pull
did
up
on this
my
page to the cannon
list for the power ranking.
was
Yeah.
increase its range. It was 200, which just felt way too short, so we tripled the range to a new value of 600, which will give you much
Okay, so he gives it a bigger range on the cannon, by the way. I kind of glossed over that as well.
Oh, that's
top of
good. But
everything
what
else
about
that
the
he-
game's render distance?
Can't do anything about
Shooting
that.
blind.
Now we need to modify the explosion properties, which are
That
found in
also
these
makes
Smugglers
it better
Run
at
DLC
head-on
files.
against other
For
jets.
the most part, I left the
Yeah, that makes it even worse, even with the worse handling that he gives it. It's still like, what are you doing?
values alone,
I'm watching
except for
it again
one,
and
which is
finding
the end
even more
radius or the
problems.
blast radius of the explosion set by the cannon. We turned that down to just 0.5, which means there's going to be hardly any splash damage to the cannon, and this in turn prevents the new B-11 from becoming the laser or the Hydra cannons, where you just have to spray down the road and rely on the blast radius to get a kill. The
Except now this is the only jet in theory that would have this cannon, so it kind of doesn't matter.
Cannon will be powerful, however, you need
Even
to
aside
actually
from
hit the
that, he
target
does
in
the
order-
laser rework to remove the cannons.
So basically we can ignore the laser rework because it already happened, right?
Let's take a look at this new cannon in-game now compared to the old one.
Yeah, skill issue.
Also, the way he's flying this thing.
Yeah, this is before he changed the handling.
The way he's flying it, though.
Oh yeah, because it's like the real B11.
Also, where's the delay that he mentions? He mentioned a fire delay on the cannon, and there just isn't.
Well, because he's hitting the button in the thing.
Is he?
Imagine. Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, even if he couldn't implement it properly, it's still the intention. We're going
Right.
off what he was trying to change.
To be honest, it looks kind of cool the way how it is. This is something that I imagined the 11 should have been like.
Yeah, this video on its own without the later context isn't the worst thing in the world. It's
As you
just
can
like
see, the rate of fire increase
why?
gives it much more usability.
It's
However,
like
you
the
can't
B11's
just
already-
spray with it.
The additional problem, I'm just gonna spoil it, is that he found out how to give barrage missiles homing properties when reworking the Savage. And then he said, if I could do this for the B11, I would do it. It's like, what the
so that you can just like run up on a vehicle and fire like 8 homing missiles at it all at once, and it's just like cool. If you're not
Yeah,
an
because
insurgent,
the
you're
homing
dead
barrage
instantly.
fires 2 missiles at once in his showcase. So, just really easy with how slow the B11 is. In the showcase as well, to fire even more.
You have to
Also,
actually hit the
has he shown the? Yeah, he showed the DPS comparison.
Yeah.
target you're shooting at in
That's
order to
just,
do that insane damage. And with the range increase,
Yikes.
you don't have to get extremely close to the ground in order to hit your shots. And in turn, this is going to reward players who are way more accurate with it and not players who just spray. So in order to give the B11 a weakness, now
But he
comes
was
the
spraying
handling side of
around.
things. In current GTA Online, the B11 Strike Force has really good
No,
handling,
but
one
he
of
was
the best
spraying
dogfighters in the game
accurately.
because of it. If we gave it its buffed up cannon with its current handling, it would be a
Oh,
bit
yeah, sure,
OP.
just like,
So with that in mind,
John
I gave the
Rambo,
B11
spraying
handling
accurately.
similar to the Mogul. The only things I left the B11 with were its mass of 14,000, its thrust of 1.6, so it doesn't feel like a biplane when you're flying it, it needs to have acceptable acceleration, and the turbulence magnitude max, which prevents it from having annoying amounts of turbulence when flying it. And this handling works really well for the B11, I have to say. It actually feels like it would have this type of handling. It feels a lot more weighty in the air, and it can't turn as easily.
Which allows it to line up ground shots easier.
I mean-
Basically. Like Boosed said.
I think aside from how ridiculously overtuned the cannon is, I wouldn't mind a vehicle like this being in the game. I just
It's
wouldn't
also
want it to
unable to
replace
fly
the
upside
B11.
down, which means dive bombing doesn't work all that well with it. But at the same time, it also makes it a bit easier
Like,
to
I
aim
think
at
if this
things
was a
because it's
new
not as
vehicle
sensitive to your
concept, it wouldn't
inputs.
be the worst.
And combined with the new
It's part of
cannon,
why I
it
hate it
really
so much.
does
It's
feel like a whole
replacing
different
already
vehicle,
good
one that
vehicle
is
that a
much
lot
more
of people
unique than the
like.
current B11 Strike Force.
And obviously
keep
the
in
homing
mind,
barrage.
I don't have much experience with coding aside from a couple of
Homing
computer
barrage.
science courses, and I was able to fine-tune these
Literally
values
the
and test them accordingly in just a couple of hours in total. But just changing the values literally
Nice
takes
flying.
like 5 minutes. I did have a lot of fun making this video though, and I do want to make more of these, so let me know which vehicle
Didn't
I
he
should
at least,
balance
like,
next
try
in
to
the
get,
comments,
like,
or also a
different
weapon for that
takes?
matter. But keep in mind though, things like armor and aircraft bombs,
Look, I can be
can't
a
quite
hater
access
because
in
he does
single
make a
player.
couple.
I would of course love to buff bombs, but they just aren't able to be used in the same.
He wants to buff bombs as well. But he
Ooh.
says he couldn't. So that's even more like, what?
I mean, if he meant the bombs that suck ass like the gas and fire, I'm fine with that.
Well, I think he's just talking about standard bombs. Hold on.
In general,
access-
for like
Hold
the
on, hold on,
B11.
hold on, hold on.
In single player,
See, this is
I
why
would,
we
of course,
need
love to
closed
buff
captions.
Shush!
bombs, but they just aircraft bombs I can't quite access in single player. I would of course love to buff bombs, but they just aren't able to be used in the
Oh,
single
just
player
bombs
version of
in
the
general.
game.
Yeah,
And
I
vehicle
don't-
armor works differently in
Holy
single
fuck!
player
Did you
than
see
it
how
does
far
not
away he hit that thing?
Wait!
able to be used in the single player version of the
Whoa!
That wasn't
No,
the cannon.
okay.
That wasn't the cannon. That was a
single
missile,
player.
right?
I would of course love to buff
No,
bombs,
no,
that's
but
the
they
cannon,
just
look.
aren't able
He has
to
the
be used
Yeah,
cannon.
in the
look,
single
because
player
he
version.
increased the range. You didn't pay attention to the video.
No. Wow, I didn't notice that the first time we watched. Holy,
Okay, next.
Protect your privacy.
this one
No.
was good. I remember.
And welcome to another GTA Online Rebalanced video. You guys seem to really enjoy the B11 Strike Force one I did. The support on that video was just crazy, so thank you guys so much for that. I'm really happy you guys enjoyed it. But the vehicle we are going to be looking at today is none other than the Anihilator Stealth. The Anihilator Stealth was released, of course, in the most recent update to GTA Online, the Caio Perico Heist. And it's mostly hated by the community because it just doesn't bring anything new to the table. It's a copy of the Akula, except it's worse than the Akula. It's also more expensive than the Akula. So, to answer the question of where it went wrong, it lacks originality in its design. As I just mentioned, it does the exact same thing the Akula does, except it's worse at it than the Akula. They didn't even bother to give it the exact same armor that the Akula has, so why would anyone use the Annihilator Stealth over that helicopter when it's even cheaper than this one is? Other than that, though, everything else is fine with it. It just needs its own identity to make people want to use it. And with that being said, the objectives of rebalancing
This changes everything.
the Annihilator Stealth are, number one, give it armor that makes sense for the game. This one's kind of common sense. You don't add a helicopter in 2021 of this size that can't take a rocket. I'm sorry, but that's just pathetic. And the second thing we're going to do is give people a reason to use this helicopter over the Akula, because even with the increased armor, the Akula is still a faster helicopter.
Oh, thank you, Toast.
That doesn't, like, matter.
No, it's groundbreaking. You don't get it.
Yeah, you don't get it. You don't
with
understand.
bombs, so it's still the obvious better option. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to buff the Annihilator Stealth's machine guns in a pretty big way. So unfortunately, I can't actually change the Annihilator Stealth's explosive resistance. I'm pretty sure that stuff's hard-coded into the game, so I
He learned how to do this later.
don't actually have gameplay of what the armor should be like on the Annihilator Stealth, but it would essentially be the same as the Akula in the Hunter's armor, where it takes about 3 rockets and 7 explosive rounds. It really does suck that I can't change the values myself, because I would love to just show you guys how that would be in game. Unless there's a way to do it that I don't know about, but I've asked people around the community who are like familiar with modding, and they don't think it's possible either, so this is gonna have to do for now. Next, instead of the Annihilator Stealth having plain old machine guns, we buffed it to the Rogue's explosive MGs, giving it much more power without being too broken because it's the Rogue's MGs and not the Hydra and laser cannon.
You know, I really disagree, because why the hell should we add more explosives in this game?
I personally don't mind it.
Doesn't really matter anymore anyway.
I mean, come on.
Nothing matters.
I feel like GTA Online is becoming a
Nothing
Fallout game at
matters.
this point.
We did change some
True.
of the values on the Annihilator Stealth gun, though, to make it more balanced. First, the frag impulse value. I'm not exactly sure what this one does, but
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I'm not sure what this does, but it feels cool, so I'm putting it in.
a lot less intense and aggressive with the value lowered. And
Thank you, Ghilliemaster. Very cool.
the Annihilator Stealth has a pretty fast rate of fire on its stock machine guns at 1500 RPM. Now, that would be a bit ridiculous with the explosive machine gun, so we lowered it to 480 RPM to match the explosive MGs on the Rogue. The other value, alternate wait time.
Actually, pretty sensible.
Yeah, like, I just think this one's pretty good. It's just funny that he just doesn't know what a stat does.
That's the only problem I have with the video, but, like, we put it over here on the tier list.
I
Also,
don't
his
even
Tampa
know
one
what
was
this
really
ad.
What ad?
What made this worse than the Tampa?
Voting is easy. Vote earlier. Is this propaganda?
Must be. Anyway.
Time is basically how long the game will wait to switch which gun is firing. I could be wrong, but I think the default value of -1 means that there normally isn't a wait time and it just defaults to 0. Both.
So also something he's not sure about. I didn't catch that one either.
Not only does giving the Annihilator Stealth this
Just don't
gun make
remember what
sense
made this
because the
worse
helicopter is
design
literally in the
with the
Annihilator
Tampa.
family, which is
Pardon?
I just don't remember why we put this lower than the Tampa. Maybe
I
it says
think that-
something at the end.
I think the Tampa was a lot better.
known for having strong machine guns.
Well,
Okay,
the
this
only
is
thing
pretty
I'm
much
concerned
done.
about would be the fact that, okay, so it has better armor and it has explosive rounds. But
Well, it
it's
has
a
the
stealth helicopter, so just imagine someone just peekaboos behind you, you know? Or does it
And-
deactivate while it's stealth?
You can't
No.
use guns while in stealth.
Yeah,
Ah,
there is
okay.
that. So
So it's gonna be like a Raiju out of nowhere thing.
Well,
it's not gonna be as bad
it's
because
a
the Raichu had
helicopter.
speed to go with
the
it.
helicopters, it can't run away from a lot of targets because it's a helicopter.
Also,
It actually has to
considering it's
be
a helicopter, one E round will cause us to start smoking and eventually die anyway.
Rockstar released one of the most controversial vehicles to the world of GTA Online, the Oppressor. Little did we know we were in for a much bigger threat just a year later with the release of the Oppressor Mark II, and to this day it remains one of the worst blunders of GTA Online's history. After its release, it quickly became the most talked about and complained about vehicle, and even now, 3 years later, the issue of the Mark II Oppressor still has yet to be addressed directly by Rockstar. There have been small nerfs to the ability to spam the vehicle, but the problem is still very much there. So today we're taking matters into our own hands and modifying some aspects of the vehicle in an attempt to make it much more balanced in the online environment. So where did the Oppressor Mark II go wrong? Well, it's kind of a loaded question, but to summarize it into a few points, it's just good.
Summarize it.
It's not what
It
a loaded
shouldn't
question
exist.
is.
In order to tackle this issue, first and foremost, we're going to address the heavy imbalance of the Mark II's weapons. The missiles currently are way too far up in the power level, and the other weapons, like the explosive MG and the machine guns, are far too weak in comparison. So we're going to bring the missiles down a few levels, and bring the other weapons up a few levels in power to give some variety and excitement to Oppressor Mark II combat, instead of the current brainless gameplay that is spamming the left bumper when you hear lock. Another objective of this rebalance is to not completely ruin the Oppressor Mark II, but change it.
Don't over nerf it. No, I'm pretty sure you couldn't nerf it enough.
Enough to get rid of some of the annoyances that people
remove
face,
the missiles
mainly
outright,
with the
it'll
missiles.
still get
I know a
used
lot
by
of
most
people like
the
using
player
this
base
vehicle
just
to
'cause it's
money
so
grind.
brain dead.
I'm in that
Yeah.
same boat as well, and as someone who does use it for money grinding purposes, you have to admit that
Money grounding purposes. Thank you.
Grounding.
it's still unhealthy for the game as a whole, for one
Recording
vehicle to be
culture.
so much better than
Oh,
everything
money
else,
tree.
even if
Yeah,
it does
money
make
tree.
grinding really easy. So with that being said, we're going to give the Oppressor Mark II a new feature that should serve to spice up the gameplay for both PvP and money grinding. So let's start out with the missiles, since that is what most people complain about with this vehicle. We nerfed the missiles pretty hard, I have to say. First of all, I changed the launch speed value to half of what it used to be, so the missiles are going to be much slower than they are right now. And a quick disclaimer, I know a lot of people say to just nerf the tracking on the missiles or give it buzzard missiles, and unfortunately I don't believe I'm able to do that kind of modifying through the game files. Missile tracking is something that is probably hard-coded, so I can't change it myself. But with that being said, we were still able to give the missiles a pretty significant nerf. Instead of doing normal homing rocket damage that they do now, I gave the Oppressor Mark II missiles the RC tank missile damage.
Which is crazy. I mean, the missiles do
It's
end
the
up
Mark
becoming
IIs,
less
I
of a
don't care.
problem. But, like, it's not as crazy as we originally thought. I really wish I recorded the original
Yeah, because
reaction
we saw
where we
the
had
car
a misunderstanding.
and he had the
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
got this
visual-
stupid
the explosion
graphics
looks
mod, so the
fucking
explosion looked
massive.
massive, and we thought that he increased the blast radius, but he actually decreased the blast radius.
But I did give it a little bit of a buff to the blast radius. It
Never mind, he buffed the blast radius.
Yeah, but he buffed it for the RC, and it's still lower than the
Right.
original missiles, which
But-
is the thing we didn't know when we saw this.
Even still, this is essentially slapping an up and atomizer on the Oppressor Mark II. It's still
It's
a
still
problem
pretty-
for on-foot players, especially free aim.
was at 1, I changed it to 3.5, which is still much smaller than the homing rockets of any other plane. And these
Right,
changes
okay.
alone make the rockets much less OP. It's gonna take you
Oh, yeah.
2 missiles
But
Yeah,
look how
look,
big
look.
this is because of a stupid graphics
to blow up
mod.
any regular unarmored civilian.
We thought that was the actual
car.
blast radius being showcased.
Yeah.
Aircraft is much more
Oh, see
resilient
there?
against them. Instead of taking 2 rockets to destroy a Savage, it's now gonna
I think
take you
he's
4
AFK.
and a full.
This one too. It got
Okay,
orbs.
yeah, no, that's
It's just his
way
graphics
too
mod.
big of a blast. Jeez.
It's his graphics mod. It's not actually what's there.
Fully armored up Hunter
Oh
will
my
take
God.
8 of these to destroy. Next, let's discuss the regular old machine guns on the Oppressor Mark II. They were given a pretty substantial buff. I buffed the damage to 30
This
instead of
one,
So he
like,
doubles
cool
the
buff,
damage.
but not on the Mark II.
He buffs the damage, which
So
is
2
the
times
first part.
DPS. Let's count this up. 2 times DPS.
Mm-hmm.
15. I reduced the speed from 10,000 to 2,000 just to normalize it with the other guns in the game.
So he
That's
buffs the fire
travel
rate.
time.
Oh, the travel time, my
That's-
bad. So he makes
There
the
was
travel
some-
time. Imagine
Slower,
getting.
but matches everything
Imagine your
else.
helicopter getting shot at by an AR at any height ever. Is what he just made this be.
But it
The time
gets
between
worse.
Yep.
shots, I changed from .120 or 500 RPM to 3,000 RPM.
3,000 RPM.
So times
Jeez.
6 times 2 is 12 times DPS so far.
Mm-hmm.
And then we gave it a non-existent alternate wait time so that the guns both shoot at the exact same time.
24 times DPS increase, by the way.
4 times.
Jeez. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no.
No.
Yeah, so
Dude, it's like
I
it's
just
like putting
want to reiterate. Basically, what he did is he looked at the Mark II and he said, "Double it and give it to dogfighters. Double the problem
Like,
and give it to
obviously-
pilots."
Yeah, like you can run away from it and go up because it's a Mark II, but like
And then upside down.
then it goes upside down.
And besides, like the certain vehicles, they should be good at everything. It's like it has to have like a pros and cons at the end of the day.
Okay,
And
hold
I
on.
find this-
He's not done. He's not done. The next
He's
one
not
isn't
done?
as bad. The next one isn't as
This is
bad.
The next
It's
one
still a
isn't as
problem.
bad, but it's still stupid because the thing he's buffing didn't need buffs at all.
Moving on to the explosive MG, this one just needed a
Oh,
little bit of
no.
a buff, nothing too crazy here. We buffed the rate of fire,
Nothing
too
300
crazy,
annoying,
double
300
DPS.
RPM, and
Double
match
DPS.
the alternate wait
No.
time with the fire rate so that the gun's alternate sides when
Okay,
firing.
so almost 3 times fire rate.
Yeah.
And then we gave the blast radius just
Though
a
you
slight buff
don't,
from
it doesn't
one.
look
Just a
like
slight
it
bump.
because
Just a slight bump.
the actual fire rate isn't that much higher. It's just because it's both guns fire at once now.
Yeah. He could have made it a lot higher if he
Slight
gave an
buff.
actual
Hold
wait
on, I
time.
remember this was not slight.
0.5 to 3, just so you don't have to be
Just
exactly on
Slight. Just so you don't have to be exactly on the
the
target.
target, but still pretty close in order to get a hit.
Would you want to dogfight this toast?
No thanks. Or maybe perhaps.
Okay,
it
we
has
need
the
to
same
hold
fire
on. We
rate,
need
but
to
it's
see
a bit
his.
more
We need to see
accurate.
his extra feature. We need to see his additional feature.
Yeah.
Once were. Now, I also wanted to give the Mark II something cool to just make the vehicle more fun and to
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
this
draw
was the
people
thing that
more
really
towards the
pushed it over
utility
the
of the
edge.
vehicle instead of the overpowered weapons on it. And so I gave it the ability to use drive-by weapons while piloting it.
Wow. No,
Hold
he
on.
says if he could limit it, he would prevent the compact grenade launcher and the throwables.
Oh,
if he
okay.
knew how to
But
do
that
it.
still lets you do FMJ revolver and flare gun with the missiles.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter that much for the other two weapons, but
Wait, I know he nerfed the missiles, but you can just redirect your own missiles because of the fucking flare gun.
oh god.
He just made
Wait, I
he
didn't
just
even
made
think-
air to ground easier. He just made air to ground easier.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize that.
He just you can just redirect your own missiles at air at ground targets. What the, so this actually is way worse than I originally thought. Because you can just redirect the RC tank missiles onto people. Because he buffed the blast radius of the RC tank missile. So, like, you just need to shoot the flare in their general area.
Yep. It's awesome.
Okay, to be fair though, when you have a bunch of drive-by weapons, it would be a little bit harder to swap from missiles to flare gun, unless you specifically set your load up for that. Your loadout, I mean.
Yeah, but you could totally do that as your loadout.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason this is in this tier right now. I would even put it over the B11, actually.
Well, top of the list, because it's going down to be worse, whatever's below
Oh, true.
is
Okay,
worse.
so this is the worst offender right now.
Have basically render it useless in today's environment. First of all, the armor. The Chernobog requires you to post up at
Crazy,
a
he
location,
barely
essentially
fixes
making
the
you a sitting
problems
duck
with
for
it.
attack.
And
That
then,
is true. And
like, the
creates a new
armor
problem
helps a little
instead.
bit, but it's still extremely vulnerable to ground. He just hyper gazillion buffed it against aircraft. So it's more and more extreme. And you're kind of
Jeez.
just forced to counterpick to deal
Now
with it.
hold
There's
on,
no...
hold on. Let
You'll
man
see
talk.
it, yeah, we'll see.
Attackers, and in return, the Chernobog receives no armor or explosive resistance to compensate for this behavior. All it takes is a plane to get just one lock-on for a split second to then fire a rocket, and it's all over for the Chernobog. And the second thing, the missiles really aren't anything to be afraid of. If a dedicated
No.
combat plane like the Pirate
This is wrong. This is just wrong.
Laser, or Hydra is locked onto by the Chernobog, you might take them out, but more often than not, it'll just turn into an endless cycle of the jet going in circles to avoid the missiles, while the Chernobog just keeps firing them in hopes that one
Which
of the
leaves them
missiles then cuts the
completely
jet off.
vulnerable.
This isn't really a reliable way to deal with aircraft. A dedicated anti-air
This
missile launcher
just
should be
doesn't
something
play
the
with
aircraft of
teammates, I
all
don't know.
kinds do not want to mess with.
Must be.
So moving into what we are going to change about the Chernobog, number one, we're going to give
No, he doesn't play with teammates. He just plays with fans. So there you go.
it some armor. As much as I can anyways, there are limitations of what I can and can't do
Man,
with
we are
just
being
editing the game
haters
files
right
that I
now.
have access to, but the
Pardon?
No, it's fine, whatever.
armor buffs
Just
that were
continue,
given to the
it's fine.
Chernobog should help cover up some of its weaknesses. And the next thing, we're going to give it some scary missiles that aircraft will not be able to avoid
Scary missile.
with evasive maneuvers. Now, I'm not able to change the tracking of the
They're-
missiles through the
they're
game
pretty
files, but I
scary.
am able to change other things that will make the missiles a whole lot better. Let's first discuss the armor changes that we made to the Chernobog. We have given it the flag for capped explosive damage, which, like it says, makes it take less damage from explosive weapons. This changes the Chernobog from a vehicle that normally takes 1 RPG to blow up, taking 5 RPGs to blow up.
God, his graphics making the
Dude,
explosions way bigger.
Yeah, the
than they need to
graphics
be.
mod is making
A common
things
strategy that
more
I've seen used
inaccurate the
against
way how it
myself, even
seems
in the
like.
Chernobog, is to go somewhere far away but still in view of the Chernobog, and then shoot it with the explosive sniper rounds, because it only blows up in just 3 of them.
24 to 26 E rounds. Thank you, Real 7
Dude.
Salty Cabbage. I know how many E rounds they use on the RC tank now.
Of your explosive ammo, because the change version takes 13 explosive rounds to destroy, which gives you more than enough time to react as a Chernobog user getting attacked by this.
Dude, I should
You
comment
mean
that.
it gives
Like, I
you?
don't know
You
how
mean
many
it gives you
pipe
like
bombs
no
use, what the
time to
fuck?
I don't
react?
know how many pipe bombs. How can I trust this?
I also lowered the amount of damage a Chernobog takes from just regular bullet weapons, and I also lowered the amount of damage that is applied to the engine by a substantial amount to give it a little more protection against just hordes of cops shooting at you. And this is the
I think
perfect
that's
segue
just a
into another armor
unabashed
buff that we gave it, because another annoyance about the Chernobog is
I
I
don't
mean,
think
everything he's done for the armor here is just genuinely good.
so with the help of my friend C. Stewart
Cabbage,
Gaming,
he
gave
could just
the
simply
Chernobog
add a
bulletproof
drive-by
windows.
feature.
He could have a drive-by feature.
I'll have a link to his channel down in the description. Make sure to go thank him for helping out with this video. He does lots of cool vehicle modeling work for GTA stuff, and I really appreciate him helping out with the Chernobog buff. And the bulletproof windows solve 2 issues. The first being the issue with the cops eventually shooting you out when they swarm you, and the second one being if players try to snipe you out of the turret seat from far away. Of course, in PvP, this can still be countered if you have FMJ rounds equipped, as FMJ rounds will pierce bulletproof glass.
Can we revoke this guy's
The
talking
missiles is that
license?
they have the same speed as every other homing missile in the game, which means
No,
that
they
the
don't. No, they don't. No, they do not. They do not.
usual
What
method
did
of
he
going in
just
circles-
say?
Hold on.
Switching to the offense now, the issue with the missiles is that they have the same speed as every other homing missile in the game.
Oh my god, they're like the
no,
second fastest
exactly.
missile in the game. What the fuck is this guy on? Crack? I want it. The fuck?
No, hold on.
Yeah.
Just watch what he does. Hold on.
It still
I
works.
mean, he could just do
Well,
a
with the buff
comparison.
missiles, I highly doubt that's the case, since we buffed the launch speed of the missiles from 1200 to 7200. That's a 6 times.
Jeez Louise. Is this SpaceX or what?
Tack, are you there?
No, he's
Sorry, I forgot I muted my mic. I wanted to say something. I just find it interesting how he thinks the speed is the same as everything else because you can go in a circle to dodge them, but that's because of the turn rate, not the speed.
Yeah.
So then he just buffs the speed. This doesn't even fix going in a circle, dodging it. It just means like if you don't react within half a second, you die instantly when this thing shoots at you.
Well, if you buff the speed, this is why you gotta be very, very careful in game balancing when you try to change the speed of something compared to changing the other aspects of it. So, like,
See, that against the car, there's nothing they can do. But against
Oh, he-
aircraft, it's still the same.
Speed passive radar missiles in Battlefield 4. It's not even. It's just real.
hold on. So 400. Hold on. I think
Increase
it
in
went
the
from
fire
400
rate
to
from
480.
0.150
with the rate
or
of fire.
400 RPM to 480 RPM. And
That
it just makes
doesn't
it
really
feel
matter
a bit
that much.
It doesn't matter as much as the speed buff on these missiles.
It's clunky. You'll see what I mean when I show the comparison right about now.
Alright, we already know what the old
Oh,
missiles are like, but let's just look at how fast these are to begin with. Look at that.
Yeah, they're pretty, like, decently quick. I like the speed.
Here's the new one.
I would have run your distance in about a second of travel. By the way.
Way Toast reacted is everything. Oh my god.
I like how he says, "Oh, dude, you better start bailing. If you bail the second this locks onto you, you will still die."
I am bailing. Dude, like when he says
You
that you have
can't
to
bail.
go in circle
You will die
or just eject,
before-
I am ejecting immediately. Heck, I'm switching
You
lobbies.
can't-
Screw
You're
this.
switching lobbies.
You have no time to eject. If you start getting locked onto and then you press Y,
Dude,
the
I might as well
missiles will
just pull the
still
cord
kill
out
you.
of my console.
The missiles will
Screw
still
this.
kill you. Hold on. Look at. Let's see that again.
Pull the cord out. That's how you dodge the missiles.
You have to
This
dodge
guy
the
needs to
missiles
be
by
stopped.
fucking unplugging your router.
Yeah, I'm plugging my Ethernet cable immediately.
Fuck you, random plane over there.
Literally across the airport. About a second until it gets hit.
Oh, like
Homing.
there's no time to like imagine. There's
Couldn't
a
even
missile
say one
getting
Mississippi
shot.
there.
It's like distract the.
Hold on,
missile.
hold on, hold
You gotta
on.
understand the way flares work is that the missiles need to be close to get affected by the flares.
Yeah.
When the missiles are faster, you have almost no time to press the flare button once they enter the range.
And not
where
only that, but you
get
shoot
the-
one flare. What about the rest of the missiles? You're doomed.
True.
Yeah,
This is literally promoting Imani Tech vehicles or
I know.
Night
That's
Sharks.
what I said.
Like regular vehicles, done.
I
Done.
think.
And you know what's
Well, I
crazy?
think even the modern Night Shark gets shredded by this thing, though.
While this thing would absolutely
Missiles-
fuck up jets that don't know,
You see, the
About
problem
it?
with the Chernobog missiles is that they're like tank shells, but like a little bit like weaker. They're not regular homing missiles at all. They're
Yeah.
literally anti. They do way more damage than a normal loadless homing missile from any other vehicle. It's like you're getting shot by a TMO2 Kanjali, but there's 5 shots hitting you all at
so
once.
this thing,
Yeah, that's a classic. Let's see how it deals with the cops and how fast it deals with the cops as just the showcase of players approaching, quote unquote.
I mean,
Here's a helicopter.
Um,
There was a helicopter. There's the cards. Imagine trying to speed at this thing with a weaponized vehicle.
I just hate this thing so much because it advocates for
Wait, did he just?
basically
Hold on,
rock,
hold on,
paper,
hold on.
scissors
Whoa,
meta.
hold on. So normally, I don't think you can lock on this close normally.
no, you can't.
So he just changed this
Well, he
without
didn't say-
saying it.
It might just be like a story mode jank thing, maybe.
Perhaps.
Because I feel like he would say it if he changed it.
Okay, let's go with that. This wasn't his intent then, I guess, for the playlist. But I'm almost wanting to bump this down to hello, but the armor is the only thing saving
The
it.
reason
No,
why
more like
I
WTF
yeah,
on
that's
the
what's saving it
missiles.
is it's because everything else is a good change. It's just the one thing that ruins it.
It really ruins it though.
It just encourages rock paper scissors meta because you just grab Imani Tech if this thing shows up, and if you're in like anything else, you just get fucked.
Holy cow.
Well, that thing was like, oh,
Yeah.
Yo.
my.
Okay, no, that is just insane.
The missiles are much scarier now, and as
Yeah, they are.
That's when
Yeah.
I leave the game.
Yeah,
Scary missiles.
and the B11 could just like dive
Oh
bomb
yeah,
from
the
really
new
high up
B11
and kill
just
you
kills. The
instantly.
new B11 just kills this. The new B11 just kills it.
You pop chaff, and then you don't even have to get that close because of the range.
that was fixed though, and today we're left with a helicopter that just doesn't have much purpose anymore, aside from maybe spawn trapping people with the explosive cannon. So to answer the question, where did the Savage go wrong? I wouldn't necessarily say it went wrong anywhere, because at the time of its release in 2015, the only way you could really take it out was with an RPG, another helicopter, or a jet. We didn't have runer tracking rockets, and not even the homing launcher was available to players. As time went on though, it just became obsolete. Its slight armor buff wasn't enough to keep it in check with the overload of homing rocket spam vehicles that were added into the game. And the only reason it was being used often up until it was patched was because of the bugged lock-on hitbox. The Savage is just a sitting duck to really any gunfire due to its very slow and unresponsive handling, without
Fair.
any armor to back up its slow and
So
supposedly
outdated.
tanky nature.
It's a lot better.
So
now.
what we're going to do to
It's
fix it
shit.
is we're first going to give it more armor so it's not as much of an easy target because of the way it handles. handles. The Savage will now be the tankiest helicopter in the game after these changes. I want to keep its handling mostly the same so it retains the same identity, but I'm going to give it slight improvements in a couple of areas to make it just a tad more responsive.
By the way, what he does later basically changes the identity of the Savage anyway, so that's cool.
And the last thing we're going to do is...
basically what he does is he just he just removes one aspect of the helicopter. And then
turns
just
it from an
increases another one.
vehicle into an air-to-air vehicle, is what he does.
to overhaul its weapons so it's not unpleasant to deal with. The explosive cannons on any vehicle in the live game are just not fun and in many ways completely broken and OP. Starting off with the armor changes, it actually already has the flag for capped explosion damage, which is what allows it to tank one rocket. We took it a step further than that though and changed the weapon damage and engine damage modifiers from 0.5 and 1.5 to 0.04 for both of them, and this significantly increases the amount of rockets it can tank from 2 on the live game to 6 RPGs.
It will still probably go down from engine failure before you even hit the 6 RPG.
Out of the dab, but every time when you get hit by the explosive, this thing goes like upside down immediately, midair.
Yeah, let's see if that still happens
annoying.
here.
Remember, he decreases the weight.
I can't see
later on.
anything! I can't see anything!
I mean, I understand why you put graphics mod just to make the final product look, whoa, beautiful.
Yeah, but every rocket is in orbital.
Yeah, it does look like an orbital.
Literally.
It's a portable orbital.
I didn't want to make it too tanky to the point where it would just be annoying. I feel like 6 was kind of the perfect amount considering other helicopters can take usually like 3 before coming unusable. For some handling improvements, I decreased the mass of the Savage from 14,000 to 8,500, which is kind of a steep drop if you think about it, but it's still one of the heaviest helicopters in the game, if not still the heaviest helicopter. And on top of that, we also increased its thrust from 0.468 to 0.5, which helps it just a little bit with acceleration.
Oh, he's here.
Chicken's here?
Yeah,
The
chicken.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
we're
we're
recording
reacting
and
to
we're judging the sensibility of his rebalances for a tier list.
Yeah.
We're just
When we're
catching
done with
toast
this, we should go back
Cabbage,
to the
look!
highlights of the
Cabbage, go
previous
back, go
videos
back.
just to show him.
Go back to the other page.
What?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be real. It's quarter past
LGBTQ.
1 in the morning, Doug.
Oh,
I'm
gay
not
cake.
gonna be. I'm not really gonna be here. What gay cake?
Yeah, gay cake.
What?
Wow.
It's a gay cake.
Where's
Gay
the gay? We're voting for the gay cake.
Yeah.
No,
It's
I
like-
will not be voting.
Now, for the weapon changes, I am completely against
Also
the
the
explosive
B11
cannons
ring.
still being a thing. I think they were designed with single player in mind and not multiplayer, hence why we haven't seen a vehicle with those same weapons ever since the Heist update. So we completely gutted the explosive cannons on the Savage, no more meme cannons. Instead, I gave it
So,
to
Okay, no.
so, hey, let's not change the identity of the Savage. By the way,
You see-
no explosive cannon.
The
Nope.
reason this Savage exists is to take down heavily armored vehicles like the Imani Tech and Night Shark, because screw these guys.
Yeah.
And you know what's
So-
crazy? He could have reworked it to have a weapon that's bad against ground targets, but still good against vehicles, but he doesn't even do that.
Basically, I mean, if he really wanted to get crazy here, and this would be bad still, he could have given the B11 cannon to the Savage. That's the one that he did in his rework.
No.
Definitely not that
Maybe
one.
it's good that he did.
damage. I upped from 30 to 150, which is a 5 times increase in
5 times the detail. Thank you, Todd Howard.
power. Its time between shots went from 0.04 to 0.015, aka 4,000 RPM.
It's an air-to-air.
4,000 RPM. 4,000 RPM, by the way. Not as bad as when he
Should
gave
give that to the
Mark.
Havoc.
Not as bad as when he went to the Mark II and gave the machine gun 3,000 RPM.
That's ridiculous. It's like
Yeah, the Mark
twice the amount of power
II
of
machine gun has
gun.
24 times the DPS it used to have. I
24
did the
times
math.
DPS.
And for some fun changes, I changed the force values
So-
of the gun to give it a feeling
Oh, and for fun, ragdoll. He just ragdolls vehicles and people, is what he
of
does for
really
the gun.
raw power. The force values went from 100 on PEDs and 2,000
But if you just
on
get
vehicles
hit
to
by the
1,000.
MG, you just get flung to the fucking floor.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
No clip
It
to
also
the
really
back.
Funny, I
pushes-
actually like that.
That's one is a funny change that I like, but it also basically shoves vehicles around. So if by chance a jet gets shot by the Savage that he's proposing here, it would throw that jet off balance while also shredding into it.
Oh my god, they flung away like Gmod.
I think a better
I like that.
thing for it would be giving it like road cannons, but making it a little bit faster.
I think the better thing for the Savage is
last
to
thing that came
leave
with the
it
main gun was
alone
I agree.
and maybe make it so that it can dodge missiles a bit better.
Well, he upped the armor
Yeah.
to 6 because that's clearly.
He upped the armor, so that wouldn't be good for this.
Range, I
He
doubled
upped
it from
But
120
the thing
to
is with the
240.
Savage though, like I feel like you're usually flying it around like in the city and shit, trying to deal with little armored cars, right? You get hit
Yeah.
by a missile, you're going into the fucking ground. It doesn't matter how much armor you have.
Yeah.
Like,
And he decreased the weight, so it goes into the ground even more. Just wait. He hasn't
Oh
done
yeah.
that yet.
Yeah.
it's brilliant. That's great.
I think
yeah,
he already decreased the weight. He said it went from
Oh, he
like
did. Okay.
yeah.
bro, this guy.
So like while it can tank 6 RPGs, one missile will send this into the FIB building and
Now, is the gun
Murder.
weaker than the explosive cannon? Yes, obviously. The explosive cannon has the best DPS out of any other weapon in the game by a long shot, so there wasn't really a situation where this cannon would be more powerful than the explosive cannons, because those are like literally at the top of the game. It's going to take a lot more aim to shoot people on foot now, because you can't just abuse the giant blast
Well,
radius
you're not
anymore,
gonna
you
use
actually
that
have to
to
hit
shoot
them
people on
directly.
foot.
At the same
Yeah,
time, though, I would argue
Definitely
this gun
not.
is
It's after
better.
this.
I'm
buff.
gonna be real, Gilbert. I'm not gonna shoot people on ground with that. Anyway, here's
Guys,
the
we
new
go.
gun on the laser.
Dope.
The laser ability buff.
It still shoots off the control surfaces.
Why is it an explosive cannon? Just get an explosive
You know what happens when you
cannon.
shoot it with the explosive cannon? It dies instantly.
Hey
Yes.
guys, it at least prolongs the inedible.
Loading because it already shoots the control surfaces off, which I completely forgot about.
Now it's useless.
So funny.
Why is he flying like this? It's so
The
bad.
very first burst of bullets completely tore off the back wing of the laser.
This is
Sure,
why
it didn't
this
blow up instantly, but
sucks.
there's no way that laser pilot's doing anything after that first burst.
He couldn't get the laser in one strafe with fucking 4,000 rounds per minute, dude.
Oh man.
But how about something with
okay,
the
how
pilot
long
full
ago
armor
was this?
upgrades?
This was 3
3
years,
years
ago.
ago?
3 years. So it's
To be
like,
fair,
before
this
the,
was before the
laser nerf.
Savage was pretty good. It was pretty bad at the time because the laser was in the game.
Yeah, anyway, here's what happens to a
Pretty
pyro.
bad, so he decided to get rid of
Of the thing that makes it good. He
the
did give
only
it
full
something
armor
though.
that-
He gave it something that's stupid in exchange.
Oh, yeah,
You'll see.
that's right. Hold on, everyone shut up while he talks.
Arrow was set on fire in a matter of a second of constant hits. Obviously, a moving target is going to be much harder to hit, but the point still stands. The gun is very powerful against aircraft, and with the increased range, you have even more viability in the air now. Now, moving on to the missiles,
Yeah,
I could have
totally,
probably
that's-
just left the missiles how they were if I'm telling the
Like,
truth, but
fucking
let's be
God.
honest, these generic 1 missile per second-ish rockets that every single aircraft has are just boring. You know what's not boring?
No.
Yeah,
Oh
boy.
no.
Oh my god, he gave it barrage missils.
He
Yeah,
gave it
but-
homing barrage. Homing barrage missiles.
Homing barrage.
They fire 2 missiles per shot here. It's 2
So-
missiles at the same time in the barrage of the lock-on. Look at this.
Jesus.
Oh my lord.
Oh, and here's the better part. Hold on, everyone shut up. Everyone shut up before you say your continued reactions.
Oh my god.
That's right, homing barrage. On top of the revamped machine gun, I gave the Savage the brand new homing barrage. And essentially how I did this was I first put the Hunter homing missiles on the Savage, and then I added the homing toggle flag to them so you can switch between having lock-on and having no lock-on because, as we all know, the Hunter homing missiles you can't actually toggle them normally. After that, I equipped the Hunter Barrage firing pattern alias on the homing missiles to allow them to fire like barrage missiles, and after copying some values from the barrage missiles to the homing missiles, voila, you get the homing barrage. This gives another really unique layer to the
Voila.
Savage's offense, and it's a lot
Voila.
of fun actually. It wouldn't really be that OP either. In fact, I
It wouldn't be that OP either. It wouldn't be OP, guys. It wouldn't.
I hope one day we do get a vehicle with a homing barrage missile in GTA Online. And you know what, now that I think about it,
Hold on, shut up.
I hope one day we do get a vehicle with a homing barrage missile in GTA Online. And you know what, now that I think about it, I should have put the homing barrage missiles on the Rebalance V11 Strike Force. I think that
No! No!
Yeah.
Give the whole
There's a
reason
reason
why he
why
wants to
this is
change
here.
it is because the original missiles looks boring. That's it.
Yeah!
Like,
There's
oh,
a reason
it's just-
why
like,
the B11 is here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the exact same thing that the developer from Rockstar, they say, oh, like, this game is boring, we just
This
need
guy
it
would be a
flying by."
perfect GTA dev.
would have fit it very well. Anyways,
It's
that's
fair
all I got
enough.
for this vehicle Rebalance.
I'm going to bed. It's half 1 in the morning.
Wait. Alright, let's go.
$5.918 million if you don't have
This
access
one was
to the
alright.
discounted trade price. And total with upgrades, it's going to end up costing you about $7 million. And what do you get for this massive financial setback? You get a plane that's not only the biggest in the game, but the slowest as well. And even back when it launched in the Smuggler's Run update back in 2017, you were lucky to last a minute flying this giant paper plane around. The Bombushka deserves to be a beast in the sky, and in this video, we're going to be doing a complete revamp of the plane, and we're going to turn it into a familiar gunship that some old school COD fans will enjoy, and it's no longer going to resemble a flying target in the sky.
I actually really like this one. I think he didn't give it
What?
to Farmer though. I don't
Wait!
remember.
Wait! Was that a laser cannon?
I got.
That is, I'm not sure.
Hold
about
on. Maybe I'm misremembering.
This
Doc
is
Sack
worse
story.
than the Avenger.
Oh god, it is. That doesn't sound like laser cannon. That sounds like rogue cannon. Did you hear how fast the fire rate was? I don't
Okay,
think it's laser.
fair, but he gave it the laser tracer, which confused me. I guarantee you he gave it the laser tracer, because what the fuck?
Yeah, because he did that with the Mark II because he thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bum 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 bum.
Cruise missile!
Dramatic.
Cruise missile!
Now I know the Bombushka isn't based off of the AC-130, it's based off of a Russian bomber, I get that, but the fact is, the Bombushka is the closest thing that we have to a gunship-style aircraft, so that's why I'm choosing it to base this off
The
of.
Avenger.
Now where did the Bombushka
Yeah.
go wrong? Well, I think it's fairly obvious. The Bombushka is giant and
He's not-
travels at a snail's pace. Those two
he's
things
gonna buff the
combined make it
armor.
a very easy
It has
target
to at least
for
be the
anyone
same
to
as the
attack it, and its armor
Or did
is
it go wrong?
non-existent, so
Giant,
just one
slow. We need to be
We'll see, we'll
small
see.
and fast, like
Small
the
and
Oppressor.
fast. Like the Oppressor.
Bro, what if they gave it Howard NX25 engine and handling?
Oh dear.
person on foot has explosive rounds, say goodbye to your $6 million plane. Its armor is really the only thing that's very wrong with it, because if its armor was done properly, it would cover its downsides of being slow and clunky. The guns do happen to be bugged on it right now, but that's an entirely different story. But instead of just buffing the armor and calling it a day, we're going a step further and completely redesigning the weapons on the Bombushka in an attempt to resemble an AC-130. Of course, we're still going to buff the armor on it by a ton to help it survive in today's GTA Online lobbies. And lastly, the handling will get a very slight improvement, so it's not as unresponsive to fly. Keep in mind, it's still going to be the slowest and clunkiest plane to fly by quite a bit, but the goal is to make it not as bad as it is now. In layman's terms, the AC-130 has 3 main guns, the big very slow-firing one, a medium semi-fast one, and a small quick-firing one. The Bombushka right now has 2 styles of weapons already on it, the machine gun and the explosive gun, but for the main big cannon we're gonna need another one, so I replaced the top cannon with a Khanjali tank cannon, as the tank cannon
What? That is awesome, but what the fuck?
What the hell?
Imagine trying to take this thing down with other aircraft, though.
You get fucking hit by the tank cannon.
Get hit by you just get Khanjali'd out of the sky. Like, it's-
Blind Jolly.
okay, thank you, Ghilbert.
cannon is the strongest style of weapon that would work for this situation. After that, I went ahead
Well, just give it an orbital cannon, why don't you?
and modified the vehicle weapon. But back to the main gun, it's not just the regular old Khanjali cannon on top, it's heavily modified. In the audio department, I changed the stock Khanjali cannon sound to the flat gun sound from the A trailer, and this doesn't do anything to the performance of the weapon, of course, but it's just a better sound for a big cannon, in my opinion. The next change was to the damage. Normally it's at 0, and that's because most explosive weapons get their damage from the blast radius, which is defined in a different file, which we will of course get into in a second here. But since it's a giant cannon, we gave it 500 damage. And for obvious reasons, I increased the time between shots from 2 seconds to 5 seconds, making the cooldown per shot much longer, as it should be.
Okay, fair.
You probably have noticed the alternate wait time was changed to match the time between shots, and the reason for that is the Bombushka top cannon has 2 different guns, so if I didn't change that, it would fire 2 cannons at once instead of just 1.
Well, what is my opinion, which is
The
different.
launch
Fair.
speed
Hold on, launch
was
speed?
decreased from 400 to 175, so it's not going to travel at very fast speeds like the tank shells do in this game. And it also kind of gives
by
it
the
a
way,
skill
you
gap
the C-130 tank shell. That's where we're at so far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it makes it hard to lead
Bombushka
a moving
round.
target at a distance, but it makes it much more satisfying when you finally do land that shot from a long distance. Now here's where it gets good, the explosion. Changing the explosion tag not only adjusts the visual effect of the explosion, but it also adjusts the damage behind it, including the blast radius. And after testing different explosion types, I settled on the submarine cruise missile explosion. The visual
Never mind.
Oh my god. He knows how large the cruise missile explosion is, right?
Yeah, but
I
at the
think
same time, refreshment of Bombushka rebalance before adjusting the weapons. What did he adjust?
So
This is all we've done. We haven't gotten to
we haven't
everything
gotten
else.
far, but this is what he wants to do. This is what he wants to do to it.
Fair, but yeah, it's a cruise missile explosion, but another
Tank shell damage.
Tank shell
it's
damage.
yeah.
But hold on, he said something about how changing this changes.
time value,
Hold on.
same as the rate, and just it was decreased from in this game. Much
Increase the lifetime,
explosion
so
when you finally do
it's
land that
in the
shot
air.
from a long distance. Now here's where it gets good, the explosion. Changing the explosion tag not only adjusts the visual effect of the explosion, but it also adjusts the damage behind it.
Told you.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, so this thing is like 2-tapping insurgents. That's not cool.
The final change that was made to the main cannon was the trail effects. I felt that it needed something a bit more exciting. The tank trail effect is literally just smoke behind the projectile. I was looking for something with a bit more light on it, and what I decided on was the trail effect from the firework launcher. It not only gives it a more impactful effect, but it also works as kind of a tracer for the cannon, and at nighttime you can really see it traveling to the ground. So those are all the changes that were made to the coding of the main cannon. Now let's see it all put together in game. Check it out.
Wait, so it aims from the top gun down. What?
No,
Yeah,
From
this is
what
why
I
I'm
know-
saying
from
I
what I-
don't think he intends for it to shoot down.
yeah.
Even though
What
it's
I
on the
know,
top gun.
he had to mess around with the turrets because in multiplayer in regular GTA Online, the Bombushka, you need 3 other people manning the guns for it to be
Right.
effective.
He
We
still
already
intends
talked
for it
over
to be
this.
like that. He just has it pilot only for testing purposes
Yeah,
because
I'm
he's
not
offline.
talking about this being weird that he's doing this while flying. But I'm pretty sure this is the gun on the top and it's aiming down.
Yeah. No, for testing purposes, it's aiming down just to show the effect.
I
Well,
sure hope so.
I think it is supposed to be down facing, because why would it be on the top? This is an air to ground gun, not an air to air.
I think he intends for it. You know how the
Well, wait, no,
AC-130
I
guns-
think this is intended because this is the thing in the fucking intro that shoots the missile. Hold on.
No, that doesn't.
It's
shoot
all
a
the way
missile.
at the beginning.
Yeah, it's all the way to the beginning, the cinematic. Yeah, right there.
This is the thing. So he has these cannons. It comes from the top. See, it comes from the top. It clips through the plane. That's intended.
Whatever.
I mean, it's not gonna be as accurate, anyways, from store mode to online, anyways. That's
I think-
different.
I
No,
think-
yeah, sure,
no.
whatever, but that's still
Unless he
bad.
makes a disclaimer about it.
He didn't make a disclaimer.
Jank, but it's definitely supposed to be downward
Yeah,
facing.
I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because this is single player. But you see how the
Why
AC-130
would that be the
guns-
gun on the top? It's clearly meant to fire downwards.
So shifting into the medium cannon now, we modified the explosive
Oh, he
Bombushka
grabbed the
cannon for this
Bombushka.
one.
Oh.
Just like the main
Oh,
gun,
he
I
grabbed
changed
the
the audio of the
grabbed the
cannon. I
Huh?
Just back and forth. Nah, whatever.
wanted the medium one to have like a deeper sound to it with more punch, so I went with the sound of the combat shotgun, which I think fits the role perfectly. I then doubled the blast radius from 2.5 to 5, increased
What?
Oh my god, this is on the quick firing gun.
That's the medium gun, not the quick one. Not the quick
Well,
one.
yeah, but like, it's like basically what the old cannon was like.
Why would you
on the
use the
original.
light? Why would you use the light gun when you have this?
the fire rate from
probably
1
for
shot per
anti-air,
second to
maybe. I don't know.
Oh my
doubled the
God.
blast radius from
Yeah,
2.5
probably.
to 5, increased the fire rate from 1 shot per second to 185 RPM to give
What?
it a similar
That's
fire
like
rate.
that's like a 40mm bow force from the AC-130. He's trying to make that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just thinking about what this is
blast
doing for the
radius.
GTA Online scape. Not like this is him just making a cool project. I don't know if we could call this a rebalance, but let's continue.
Rate to the AC-130's medium cannon. Change the tracer from the non-existent turret tracer to the jet tracers, basically
Okay,
what you
that's
see when
what
you
it
shoot the
was.
Savage or laser guns. And finally, increase the range from 500 to 750 so that it can be used in long-range scenarios. GTA 5 still has an issue with rendering surfaces at far distances, so a lot of the time your shots will go through the floor at long distances. Same goes for the main cannon, but as long as you hit your target directly, that doesn't matter. One more thing about the medium guns, unfortunately there isn't a way to give the guns a cooldown after firing 4 or so times like in the COD games, so in the gameplay you see me firing it non-stop, which makes it seem kind of overpowered. I would have given it a cooldown after 4 shots if
Okay, that's good intent.
Yeah.
Cooldown after
Yeah,
4
That's
shots.
good. We'll consider that as intended.
Yeah.
I could, but everything I
It'd
tried
have,
to
like,
do in order to do
overheat,
that just
essentially.
didn't work. But anyways, here are the medium cannons in action.
Jesus, it's so ridiculous.
I would consider that stronger than the main cannon that he implemented. Honestly.
Yeah, like the main gun, you just pull that out to just fucking delete anything with armor. This cruise missile.
Yeah.
Also, holy fuck, why are his blast radius like visuals like
Yeah,
that?
His fucking graphics mod, man.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, the
graphic
graphics
mode. The graphics mode he chose for this is so ass. Like the explosions are too big. Like this is the Michael Bay graphics mode. That's it.
Yeah.
I know.
Like the Natural
like-
Vision Evolve is meant for cinematic look.
It's just
Anyways.
orbiting things.
Which is not what he should be using when he's
No.
trying to display a rebalance concept.
Correct. Thank you, Tack.
I mean, it almost made us think he buffed the blast radius on the Mark II from what it
Oh,
used
yeah.
to be.
That is very true.
And for the small cannons, I'm modifying the dual MGs that the Bombushka comes stock with. The first thing I did was change them from bullet to explosive using the Rogue Cannon's explosion tag. I gave it the mogul
okay.
turret
Okay, I
down,
thought
which
so.
sounds
I thought so.
it's
Got it.
actually very similar to the Bombushka dual MG by default, so it's not that much of a difference. The damage was also lowered from 250 to 30 because that would be way too much in combination with
Oh, that's too much.
That's too much, but cruise missile damage on something you can shoot every 5 seconds is okay.
That's too much, guys.
the explosion
Did
damage.
he,
And speaking
did he
of-
ever say he intended for like the cooldown between shots on the big cannon to be longer?
Yes, he said the main cannon is a 5
Yeah,
second
but even then,
interval.
just the splash radius with that much damage is fucking insane.
Not to mention the cruise missiles are stronger in general, so they hit pretty hard.
Yeah, I know.
That
They
explosion.
two shot night strikes.
Yeah.
damage, that was also reduced quite a bit
Two-shot
from
night sharks with,
250,
like, the largest
50,
splash
and a 2
radius in the
radius to
other
30
board.
for both the center and edge, with a
Hold on.
And you fired every
Lost track
5
of what he was
seconds.
saying. Hold on.
way too much
Sorry,
in
my
combination
bad.
with the explosion damage. And speaking of that explosion damage, that was also reduced quite a bit from 250, 50, and a 2
Why
radius
is
to
he
30
being
for
like
both the
this
center.
for this gun, but not everything else?
PTSD from the laser cannon, because the rogue is similar enough.
Yeah.
It made him biased.
Even though he buffed the B11 and made it a laser.
Made
The laser too.
made it a laser that just sucks at dog fighting.
Yeah.
Center and edge with a 0.5
Even then, the
radius.
range makes
The
it
small
better.
gun isn't meant to do a lot of damage or
There,
have a ton
there.
of blast radius. It does have a faster fire rate though. And went from a time between shots value of 0.150 to 0.1. And just like the medium cannon, I gave it the jet tracers because
Okay, I called it as well.
they just look so much better for a
Yeah.
gunship turret in my opinion. And to top it off, I upped the range from 500 to 750 to match the medium cannons. Unfortunately, the same scenario happens here as well, where I can't give the guns a cooldown after firing them for a bit, so I can continuously fire them, which is kind of overpowered. I wish there was a way to give them a cooldown, trust me, I would have done that if I could. But here are the small cannons in game.
Okay, but how long would he intend the cooldown? He didn't say that.
I think he intends to like he's doing this based off the AC-130 in Call of Duty, which
I guess
Call
we'd
of
have to
Duty,
look for
that
the stats in that.
no, listen, the minigun has like it has three. The AC-130 has 3 guns. A 20mm minigun cannon is like a Vulcan cannon, same as the fucking A10 Warthog. And then it has a 40mm Bofors cannon, old World War II anti-aircraft cannon. And
we already talked about the guns, but what were the cooldowns?
Yeah, the minigun is intended to have a short cooldown with the most amount of fire rate downrange before it has to reload. The Bofors is kind of the intermediate. It's like you get less shots and longer cooldown, but the shots are slightly more powerful. And then the 105 field gun is meant to be one shot with a long reload. That's how it goes in.
Yeah. Even then, that one fucking shot.
Cabbage, you already mentioned it like a 4 to 5 second cooldown.
For the medium gun, not for this one though.
Oh, really?
He wants a cooldown here, he just didn't say how long.
Oh, well, I guess he just...
Yeah, and the cooldown's already implemented into 5 seconds.
So, there's a little bit of PC bias we gotta remember, because this is more accurate than it looks with him playing mouse and keyboard, presumably.
Oh, well, yeah. I think, okay, Cabbage, you notice how he stopped shooting? I think that's what he's trying to mention.
Yeah, you'll notice in the demos he waits after shooting for a little bit to simulate it.
He doesn't wait that long.
And combining all three cannons in use at the same time gives
His
you those
intent,
old school
remember.
classic AC-130 vibes.
Yeah, and like even if you can only fire one shot from the cannon for a while, you just switch to the secondary gun. It's also broken as hell.
Yeah. So well, to be fair, you need other people to use these weapons in the actual product.
You would need 3 people, but that's still fucking ridiculous.
So basically, a four friends dominate a lobby if they have this.
I don't think this is as bad as the B11 or Mark II so far.
It's not at all. It's definitely not that bad, but 4 friends dominate a lobby if this thing exists.
Yeah, that is unless someone else has, like, I don't know, a long-range method of taking out this thing, which in this case...
Or you just orb this.
The B11, I guess. The B11...
The
B11 would counter this.
The B11 could counter this, or you just orbital it.
Yeah, the B11 or the... hell, even the base Chernobog could counter this, so definitely his
well, we gotta see what he does with the armor.
In the live game, it has none. You shoot one RPG at this thing and it crumbles to nothing.
Boo.
And it only takes a few explosive rounds to blow it up completely, too. So much like some of the other armor buffs, I added the capped explosion damage flag to the Bombushka, and modified its weapon and engine damage multipliers from 0.5 and 1.5 to 0.05 and 0.05, which is a very significant armor increase. We're talking a 10 times armor increase from weapon damage, and a 30 times increase in its engine damage armor. Which might sound insane, and it is, because it needs to be insane because of how vulnerable it is when it's in the sky. After this armor buff, it's going to take you over 20 rockets to disable.
Oh no!
What?
Yeah, that is...
Never mind, this thing's top tier.
Actually... Hold on. There we go.
Where the fuck is it? I can't see. I can't find it. Is it? There it is.
I can't find it either. What the fuck? Curse of blindness.
I found it.
Here it is in the tier list. Here it is in the tier list. In my tier list. I'm putting it here. At the fucking...
That shit is ruling the meta unless there's a B11 around.
20 rockets!
20.
What do you do if you don't have a B11 or Chernobog in us? Like, you don't own one and this thing shows up?
I don't know.
Uninstall. Like, actually uninstall.
What the fuck?
What the fuck is the...
Also,
I already have it on.
Also. No, there is no also. This is just blows. Like even the flat cannon doesn't deal with this very well. I think because of how the flat cannon usually is.
Yeah, it would need to be within its range, and even then.
Good luck with that. Holy shit! I was willing to put it in bad, but like at the top of bad, until I heard the armor. Hold on,
destroy it.
only 20 rockets disables it. He says you need more than that to totally blow it up.
Jeez.
Fuck me.
Oh my god.
It needs to be insane, guys, because, it just does, okay?
More than you could even carry
You
to
can't
destroy
even
it.
around it. Oh my god.
So it's impossible.
Holy shit. 24 to 26 E rounds. Thank you, Season 1 Savage Cabbage.
That being said, that's against people on foot where it excels. If an enemy aircraft has its sights on
This
you,
is
it's
where
still going
his
to go down
laser
This is
Imagine the
applicable
B11
anymore.
here.
Well,
Alright,
yeah,
then-
I guess imagine the B11 here.
pretty quick.
The
Not
B11 would do
instantaneous.
slightly better. Remember, the DPS is even higher than the laser cannons on it.
I think
Yeah,
that's true.
and this too.
Remember
and
how
this too,
quickly it killed the insurgent?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
This too, like let me add this. At this point in time, I don't think he ever thought that Rodstop would actually nerf the laser and Hydra cannons.
Yeah, I don't think he thought that either. Anyway.
But quick.
He did the laser nerfs
It
later.
still takes a while!
Yeah,
No!
that is no.
What the fuck?
That is a long while.
Okay, hold
And in
on.
this
I take
time,
it back.
The
This is
quick
here.
firing gun.
It's here. It's right here. I take it back. Holy shit. Yeah, because all the weapons just shit on the
That
laser
being
here.
said, that's against people on foot where it excels. If an enemy
Yeah, the quick
aircraft has
firing
its
gun
sights
would
on
just kill any aircraft that get close to it.
The quick fire will
You'd have
kill
to
it, but
stay
even
above
if
it,
you're
because I'd
feeling
imagine
quirky,
he would.
even if you're feeling quirky, you just get the top gun and say, "Watch your tone, motherfucker," and then shoot it.
you, it's still going to go down pretty
I'd
quick.
imagine if
Instantaneous.
he had 100% control, he'd probably make the guns not able to shoot above the thing, so it would have that as a weakness.
Well, now we're just.
But then again,
assuming.
you just get a fifth guy to grab like a fucking plane
We're just assuming.
to stay with
Anyway,
you,
Yeah,
But
we are
quick.
assuming.
and that's assumptions anyway. That's not even what's in his video.
What the fuck, bro? You're dead.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
You're dead.
And
Well,
in an
listen,
ideal scenario, the guns on this would only be.
Wait. He's talking about the guns.
Okay.
And in an ideal scenario, the guns on this would only be able to fire at a downward angle. You wouldn't be able to fire the
Okay.
guns into.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so
Mm, I'm not moving it out of S+, but I think that does put it above the Mark II at least.
It does.
The way I went about the handling changes is I compared side by side the Titan handling to the Bombushka handling, and changed the Bombushka values to around half of what the Titans were. And I'm not going to go into the specifics for the handling like I do for the other stats, because the handling is kind of confusing even for me. I don't even know what half the values do for the handling.
More changes where he doesn't know.
I just know that they affect the
Well, there's
handling in
still-
some way, and that it feels a lot more responsive than its current.
I know it affects
Trust me.
Wow.
Trust me on the vibes, guys. And
It's-
I know.
It's
Trust
the
me on the
frag
vibes.
impulse change on the B11 all over again.
Oh boy, look what's next on the playlist.
It's a
The
thruster.
Oh no.
Oh, the thruster. Oh god. Oh no.
He buffs the shit out of it. Get ready.
Thruster linked in the online.
I don't think it would be as broken as the
GTA 4 is
Bombushka.
the-
Oh shit, sorry.
When the
You'll let
ABC
them
tank
know.
first released in GTA Online, it was kind of a big deal as it was the first ever DLC tank that was added into the game. Before 2017's gun running update, the only tank to exist in GTA Online was the Rhino, and we've had that one since 2013, since the beginning of time. So, needless to say, players, especially longtime GTA fans aware of the vehicle's history in the franchise, were very hyped. Unfortunately, the APC that we got in gun running worked completely different than it did back in the day, and for those of you who are maybe new to the franchise and haven't played the old games, GTA 4's The Battle of Gay Tony DLC featured an APC tank with a newts livery, working lights, and most importantly, a sweet fast-firing cannon that ripped apart cars and was super satisfying to use.
This
So
is just
he-
making me wish it was like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the context, the camera's a big weak, but that it complements the APC being fast because you don't see it exploding cars outright, but it kind of disables them.
Which is good.
This is a
The
stark
thing is,
contrast.
like, sorry. The thing is, like, I don't really care for nostalgia because I never played GTA 4. I just think it'd be good for variety's sake. Anyways,
Yeah, let's
You
continue.
good?
GTA 5's APC, which completely got rid of the weaker fast-firing cannon in favor of a traditional tank cannon that we already have on the Rhino. And on top of that, you can no longer operate the gun while driving the vehicle, so you either need another player to use it at its max efficiency, or you have to pull over and swap seats every time you want to fire the cannon. A pretty massive change to the vehicle that really gets rid of the whole fun aspect that a tank in GTA brings. So then the question becomes, why did Rockstar even bother changing the APC so much? Were they afraid of it being too overpowered in the online environment? Do they not want us to have fun? I don't know, but I can tell you that in this video, we are going to revamp the APC to give it what it once had many years ago. So with that in mind, the objectives of this rebalance are to number 1, return the APC to its former glory like it was in the Battlegate Tony, and number 2, revamp the SAM turret to make it useful for taking out aircraft instead of ground targets. Let's begin by changing the main cannon. To replicate the fast-firing cannon of the old APC, it's actually very easy since there's already weapons that exist in the game that have the same properties that we're looking for. So, we copied the coding from the Valkyrie cannon onto the APC cannon, making a few changes along the way. First, in the sound, I changed it from the Valkyrie nose turret to the Bombushka cannon, which isn't that huge of a difference, but I'm pretty sure the Bombushka's cannon has a little bit deeper of a sound. Obviously, the explosion tag is from the Valkyrie, but now the only issue is that it blows up cars way too fast. We're trying to replicate the effect of a car getting shot a few times to getting completely wrecked before blowing up, so we lowered the damage from 200 to 30 to achieve that.
Pretty sensible.
Mm-hmm.
Next is
Yeah,
the rate of
the-
fire, which we increased slightly by lowering the time between shots value from 0.250 to 0.225. PC would have been a bit too overpowered, so I lowered it from 200 to 140.
Not bad either for range here. That's still, you can still very much work with 140 value of range.
To get rid of the annoying limitation where the passenger has to be the one firing the weapon, I adjusted the weapon seats on the vehicle to allow the driver to shoot the weapons instead. And a couple more touch-ups that we did were just visual improvements. First, the reticle. It would have been just a plain old dot like you see when you're firing a pistol, but we want this to have the tank cannon reticle, so adding this weapon_tank line here fixes that. Second, the muzzle flash. Now this is a last second change, so for most of my cinematics you don't really see the muzzle flash because I recorded them before I made this change, but I gave it the original muzzle flash for firing it to give it some more life. And after all those changes, the end result is a much better version of the APC that's a lot more fun to use. Take a look.
I'm sorry, that was really funny.
This is like, this is quite literally a watch your tone, motherfucker.
Oh, that thing got smacked. Oh dear. I mean, if you're on foot, this is a problem. But the APC already does that for people who are on foot if you are
But
within a certain range. So this isn't the worst. It makes it more mobile as a threat, but this is still a manageable threat because he hasn't talked about changing the weight of the APC at all. So you can still upset the balance pretty easily with the Weapon Atomizer and then using actual explosives from that point.
yeah, and here's the thing. Now you can actually counter the APC with a tank because it's going to be a low damage autocannon.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure this thing dies to maybe 2 tank shells. So if you get
That
a Kanjali
sounds about
or a
right.
yeah,
The
if you get a
Kanjali mob's the
Kanjali-
same if you don't play smart. You have to play very smart, and you would have to play for a while. Although the proximity mines would help if it comes to a chase. Oh, it actually looks like it took a while to shoot that guy. It doesn't kill, it ragdolls though. Ragdolls like crazy.
Imagine
still here,
RGG
Tech?
online character ragdolls left and right.
Yeah. Tack, you still here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Feeling
just.
asleep.
I'm fine.
Gotcha.
No, some schoolwork stressing me out.
Okay. Anyway, I mean, if you get shot, you've lost your chance, but you have a chance before that.
But now let's take a look at the other issue, which is the SAM turret. Now, I tried as many things as I could, but I could not find a way to get the APC to lock onto things, so I went with a different approach of reworking the missiles. This might not make sense at first, but trust me, it will later on. The sound of the rockets I changed to the firework audio, which does look strange at first, I will.
Okay.
Okay.
But it doesn't
Why?
actually sound like the whistle of the firework, it's just the firework launcher firing sound. Next we
Huh.
have the explosion tag, which I changed to the RC tank rocket, and this
Why does he love these rockets so much?
I don't know, but I guess let's hear him out.
I will.
is to prevent it from being
Opinion.
too strong given some of the other buffs we're about to discuss. The vehicle damage modifier was lowered to 0.4. For some reason, even with the RC tank missile explosion tag, they
Pardon, Tech?
No, I just something stressed me out. I'm just not gonna worry about it till we're done
Okay,
with
okay.
this.
Well, this could be a while. Maybe we can finish.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's nothing due tonight. It's fine.
Okay, then let's resume.
still blow up vehicles instantly, so this is kind of a failsafe to lower the damage even further to prevent that. Then we have the reload times, the time between shots, and the alternate wait time, which requires some explanation. Let's start with the alternate wait time. In this case, it's how long you have to wait to fire another missile. The time between shots is referring to the game switching which barrel the rocket comes from. As you know, with the APC SAM, it has 6 missiles, so if you divide the 3 time between shots value by the 0.5 alternate wait time, you get 6, and that's how it knows when to restart which barrel the rocket comes from. At least, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. The reload time on the current APC, it doesn't really do much, but on a revamped one it will. So the old values are 1.5 for the reload time, 3 for the time between shots, and 0.5 for alternate wait time. Our new values are 4 for the reload time, 0.6 for the time between shots.
0.6 for the. Whoa. Hold
That's
on.
high firing.
Ah, what the fuck? Okay, well the missiles themselves are already nerfed, but okay.
Oh, who did we lose?
Buset.
Oh, he was AFK anyway.
Is what it is.
And 0.1 for the alternate wait time. And as you can see, once again, dividing the 0.6 by the 0.1, you still get the 6 for the 6 missiles in the APC SAM. And where the reload time comes into play is right here with the firing pattern aliases. Like I mentioned earlier, the normal APC does not have one, but the new one has the Hunter Barrage firing pattern, which fires rockets in rapid succession.
So basically a cooldown before it shoots again.
And that 4 value
Which...
Okay.
4-second
I feel like I
cooldown?
gotta see. This is a lot. I feel like I have to see it.
We need to see it in action. I'm just trying to think of this logically. Sounds like a 4-second... Well, it can't be a 4-second cooldown, right? Is the barrage missile a 4-second? It might be.
Lastly, the lifetime or range of the missile was upped from 2 to 2.5, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you factor in the launch speed, trust me, it is. And the launch speed used to be 5,000, I increased it all the way to 30,000.
30,000?
Yeah, those are basically bullets.
Oh,
So
Those
these
are
rockets
basically bullets.
are really fast. And here's what those new SAM missiles look like in action.
Let's see.
oh god.
What the
What
fuck?
the freak?
So these are RC tank missiles, for the record. They're RC tank missiles.
Yeah, but
But you can
Um.
drive with this, unless he says otherwise in a moment. You can drive with this.
It's the car. It's the car.
That's a pedestrian
I gotta
car.
see this against
That's a-
armor before I.
That is a pedestrian. He's not gonna showcase it against armor unless he's smart, but that is a pedestrian car. Oh my god.
Or
But sure, he blew up 2 vehicles and 1 barrage there. Chernobog
no.
has a little armor. He missed.
okay,
Wait, it's smoking. Oh, and... That's...
I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like the other ones are probably better.
I was almost ready to put this in well thought, by the way.
To be fair, this was a second measure because he could not get a traditional lock on for the sand.
Yeah, this is his
The way I went
workaround
about
for no
balancing the 2
lock on.
cannons is I wanted the regular APC cannon to have more DPS and effectiveness against people on foot with its
Okay, you're still just gonna use the SAM turret, because that is gonna be really good against infantry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless he keeps it, because remember, the center in regular GTA Online has a limited capacity. I think he has 60 missiles.
even then, that's like, oh, let me just go to my APC that I can call anywhere now. That is a non-issue. Limited ammo is a bit of a problem, but like not that big of a problem for it to matter.
Unless he
I see no incentive to use the other cannon after that.
unless he reduces the amount of ammo the SAM turret carries to make it actually annoying to have to recall your APC every time it runs out. Yeah,
Let's find out.
Rapid fire cannon and shorter range. And I wanted the SAM turret to be the opposite of that and be less effective at DPS on the ground, but still be able to cause a hassle to aircraft, which is why I gave it the RC tank explosion so it can't be abused that much against people on foot. And also,
It shoots 3 rockets or 4 in rapid succession. It only takes 2 RC tank rockets to kill someone.
Holy crap.
He actually just made the normal cannon shit in comparison. It's not.
Changes the armor.
It's not good
Personally, I
anti-air.
feel like the APC, especially with these changes, would probably be fine with how it is with its armor. It normally takes 8 rockets to blow it up, but I increased it slightly to around 10 by adding.
Why?
Why?
No.
Why?
Oh my
Why?
lord.
No! No, it's
Why?
an APC. It's supposed to be light armor. If anything, reduce the armor. Make it take all these
It
6
doesn't.
rockets.
I don't think it deserves an armor nerf, but why? It does not need a buff, especially with that gun.
I thought he was gonna say that he nerfed the armor. I thought he was gonna say that he nerfed the armor.
With this, it takes around 10 rockets to blow it up, which is a good amount for a light tank in GTA.
No, it isn't. 8 is a good amount.
The sky is high! Okay, so still... Okay, he said nothing about the ammo capacity for the SAM turret, so that is still 60 missiles, by the way.
Okay, I think for my power ranking,
Lowest tier ever.
No, no,
I don't
no,
think it would
it's
change
not that
much in
bad.
how good it would be. It's not that bad. You gotta understand, it's replacing the tank turret. The tank turret does so much armor damage, it's losing all of that
I'm willing
value.
to put it at the top of bad, because these ones are worse.
I think power-wise, it honestly isn't that much different. It's just changed what it's good at.
It's not.
Which-
It just made it good in a different way, which would have been almost good if we were just looking at the standard cannon. But the SAM turret is crazy for balance purposes, because it just outshines the cannon in every way. You have the range to deal with aircraft, you have more range to deal with further away players. You
Also,
are
this
shooting
isn't the
enough
same
RC
game as the AC-130 and the B-11, so you just wouldn't get to use this thing.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just gonna put in the second lowest tier just because at first
I don't
we
even
had
think
to
it
make it.
that. I don't
The
think
thing
it's
I
bad.
the thing that makes me put it from fine question mark to bad is the armor buff. Because what the
Seeing the others, this is not nearly as bad as the others. It's still terrible, but
You can get 3 months free.
it's not
The
on the
jet-
same level as the B-11 or Mark II or...
It's not in the same
see what-
level. Let's just watch so we can talk about it after the fact when the details are more fresh.
Heck.
Whoa, artsy transition.
Oh my fucking god!
Look at that shit, man!
Oh my fucking god!
It's funny, because it won't even matter. He would make this thing... If he put this thing in the game right now with none of the other vehicles, it would be insanely overpowered. But because of all the other shit he made broken, it honestly wouldn't even be that crazy.
And the missiles are basically buzzard missiles, so those need some work too.
Why though?
No, they don't. No, they don't.
I swear to God,
No,
if
they
we get, I swear to God, if he gives homing barrage missiles to the fucking jet,
No, he doesn't.
I
That'd be
put
real
a
fucking
homing
funny
barrage
if he
missile
did that.
because the original one looks
that
boring.
would be hilarious.
That brings us to the objectives of this rebalance, and the first one is going to be to take a look at the handling of the jetpack and change it up a bit so that it's more fun to fly and less restrictive in what you can do with it. This will make more sense once you see the results. Other than that, we're going to give the weapons some slight touch-ups to make them a bit more useful, and I'm going to throw in a little surprise in as well. One thing we want...
Surprise.
We know what happened the last time he added a surprise. We know what happened last time he added a surprise.
I don't think it's quite that good. I think it's one of
Well,
them.
you're
I think this
creating
might be
another
the first
Oppresor MK2
allow.
because we have
Pardon?
Wait, what'd you say? Effin.
Never let Ghilbert surprise you ever again. Don't let him handle surprise
Don't let Ghilbert surprise me with balance. Worst mistake of my life.
Surprise.
You know what? I guess it's time to unsubscribe.
One thing we want to avoid here is creating another Oppresor MK2, because we have to remember that the jetpack is still a small and agile target, just like the Oppressor, so careful considerations are made to make sure that does not happen, and as a result, the missiles will not see a buff to their tracking. But increase from 0.7 to 1.2 to make it a bit more nimble in the air.
Let's not make it the Mark II, guys. Let's not make it the.
Next is the side slip multiplier. This affects how much the aircraft changes direction when pressing the LB and RB buttons when flying. Again, I gave it a slight increase to 0.012.
Isn't that a lot?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a lot from its original.
Yeah.
The next two I'm going to go over together since they both relate to the overall handling of the aircraft, the roll multiplier and the pitch multiplier. The roll multiplier dictates how aggressive the vehicle will move when banking it from left to right. It's actually kind of hard to roll the jetpack without flipping it over because of its small size, so this one isn't as noticeable as the pitch multiplier is. And the pitch multiplier is how aggressive the front and back movements of the helicopter are, so like when you tilt up and down to aim. I increased both of those values in almost proportional amounts from the original value.
Holy!
That is a lot. That is a lot.
I don't like this move very much. 2 and 3.
Which makes the jetpack overall have more reactive handling. The biggest change though is in the attack lift and attack dive multipliers. Now in layman's terms, these values are your auto stabilization. The higher the value, the more resistance there is when you try to do flips with the helicopter. And this is also the main reason why the jetpack behaves like a helicopter, because it has the same auto stabilization functions that a helicopter does. By decreasing both of those values to 0,
Hell is empty and the devils are here.
Gone.
So that means that the aim is gonna be super accurate.
Where is attack lift multiplier? Gone.
Yeah, it will mean you can just flip the helicopter. Like
you can front flip and back flip.
Oh, okay.
You can. I mean, the backflip's just for showing, but like you can just point straight down.
Yeah.
If there's someone below you, you can just call them. They can't fight back.
Really easily.
You have much more control over the aircraft to do cool stunts and maneuvers in the air, and for the jetpack, it makes it a whole lot more fun to fly.
And you can shoot
Here
straight
are a
up.
few handling comparisons.
I mean, I can't argue with that. It would be more fun if it didn't have that, but it would be so broken.
He's so bad at flying the Thruster too, and you just watch him moving around in the old version.
Hell no, dude, no.
Oh no.
The Luxo level.
Oh no.
He just... Okay, we don't want to make another Mark II. Not an upside-down Mark II. Anyway, here's the jetpack.
No.
Here's the upside-down Mark II, but it looks cooler, so it's fine.
I mean,
You know what?
and
Kevin?
here's the funny thing. Too. The jetpack has this quirk where if you go at full thrust, like forward, you are essentially immune to missiles. So imagine this, and it is also immune to missiles.
Speed.
Well, the thing is, if you can do infinite front flips, the missiles just kind of go in circles around you as well.
You can do jet dodges too, by the way, because you can just flip it sideways and then pull inwards, so you go in a horizontal circle.
If you wanted to
you can do
dogfight,
jet dodges in a jetpack.
Fucking hell.
Cabbage, I'm curious about the comment section at this point.
It's they're all just dick riders. They're all dick riders. They're all dick riders.
Everybody just glazing Ghilbert's meat on.
What the frick?
Well, okay, don't bore yet. He's not done. We're not done.
Yeah, he's not done.
Don't bore yet.
Dude, are you okay?
You get the point. You suck at using the thruster.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, guys, he did the cool stunts, front flip. I mean, to be honest, it looks really fun, but
it looks fun.
It looks really fun. It does look a little hard to control.
Because, like, if they just added a way to do this in exchange for no weapons, I think it'd be fine.
Oh yeah.
He just doesn't do that.
Like, what's that plane called? The Alpha Z, I think. Good stunt plane. Doesn't have any weapons.
Look at that sideways! Look at this sideways!
But it's what I mean. You can do jet dodges. If you just don't turn as quickly, you can do jet dodges.
He is breakdancing in the air.
character. Much like how I imagine a jetpack would be in real life, just extremely dangerous, and if you make one wrong move, you're probably going to get severely injured or killed.
Except if you don't
straight
change
down
the
while flying forward.
if you don't change the fact that you can't be ragdolled in this thing, then your danger factor is not applicable.
Now getting into the weapons, the machine guns in the jetpack are used by, if I had to guess,
This is
like
the
5
only
people.
good part.
Oh,
Some of you may not
okay.
even know the jetpack had a machine gun option for its weapons, and that's because they're just bad. You combine the weak machine guns with the jetpack being pretty hard to aim with, and you get a set of weapons which are just useless. So what I did was change the crappy default jetpack machine guns into the guns that are on the buzzard. The rate of fire was doubled from 750 RPM to 1500 RPM. The spin times I removed because it gives the guns an uncomfortable delay when you want to fire due to the quick handling, and by the time the guns are ready to fire, you're already off target and have to readjust because of the handling. And then I got rid of the alternate wait time so that both guns shoot simultaneously without switching off. And the result is a much...
Okay, so with the handling he showcased, this is a crazy dogfighter.
Yeah, obviously, I'm saying like they're fine if nothing else got changed. When I say they're fine.
Right.
I'm
I'm still gonna be looking at it as the whole changes though.
Yeah.
This just
at the same
became the
time.
#1 dogfighting vehicle.
Yeah,
Well, no,
forget the
remember, Cannon Mark II got
pyro.
buffed.
Pardon?
Remember, Cannon Mark II got buffed.
Oh yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
still
It's
did
stupid,
not-
but everything else is so much more stupid that it doesn't fucking matter.
powerful and useful gun that can blow up cars in a matter of seconds of constant fire if
Dogfights
you're
in
accurate. Take a
GTA
look.
are no longer between like jet planes. No, it's now between jetpacks and Oppresor MK2.
Bro, imagine
Stand
trying
aside,
to
Cutler, a new
fucking
pilot
being
in
a jet
town.
pilot. Imagine being a jet pilot and trying to get a fucking jetpack.
Okay,
out of
look
the
how
air
quick it turns with... Hold on, I think he did an LB-RB turn here, and it was really quick.
Yeah, remember you changed those.
Yeah, I know. Holy shit!
Oh, oh,
That's scary! That's
If
scary!
the second someone shoots at you in auto aim, you just point the other way instantly.
One more time.
Oh no, someone's shooting at me. Nope. Can't hit me anymore.
I know people in the comments are going to say that this is OP, but you have to remember that
Because
this
it
is a
is?
machine.
Not the miniguns. Everything else is.
Not the miniguns, but
I
yeah.
can't believe out of everything he says, I think people are going to think this is OP. He says it about the miniguns, which is like the only level-headed change he makes in this entire video.
The
Yeah,
buzzard
that's
missiles
how
you
the-
fire two, and
I keep pausing and no one talks, and then I unpause and you guys are talking.
It's kind of timing issues. I just meant to say like he said in the he says in the video, it's classified as a helicopter by the game.
Yeah.
also gave a slight buff too.
Wait,
Right now
wait,
the jetpack
No, I'm trolling.
Fuck you.
with the missiles, and what I felt was best was just a little buff to what they already do. So what I did was change the reload times from 4 to 2.5. This is the amount of
I guess.
time you have to wait after
It's fair
firing two
more.
missiles on the original jetpack, so you can fire
Yeah,
them
it gets
more
even
often.
worse.
And then I increased the rate of fire of the missiles, so it feels like a 2-missile barrage.
How you doing? Let's get with this guy in Barrage. You're not gonna be good at aiming. You
With
can
Barrage
spam
in
out
every
2
vehicle.
missiles. So if you miss with
Looks
the first,
cool.
you just hit him with the second.
Is this not the fastest fire rate? Well, you haven't actually looked at the actual fire rate because no, wait. There's a
Yeah.
cooldown. There's a cooldown. There's a 2.5 second cooldown. So never mind.
Yeah,
I mean, you can
it's
see
a
in the
barrage. 'Cause he's
comparison.
obsessed with
That you
barrages.
fire before having to wait the cooldown. And because you can fire 2 missiles in rapid succession, it makes them a bit better because you can quickly recover from a missed shot, and they're just way more fun to use in general.
Yeah, it's fun.
Look at that.
Fucking hell. Imagine the free aims you could hit on experienced pilots with the handling. I want him to do a backflip while shooting to showcase that.
Okay. So, and you get twice the leeway to hit people who are strafing you in jets.
Yeah.
In addition to the extra hit. Oh my god.
And the turn is just
And
fucking
there's a
ridiculous.
special surprise. And there's a special surprise at the end.
There is a
too,
special
that's
surprise.
Here.
I think
As I mentioned
also, when it comes to using the backflip trick, I feel like that's like similar way how people does when, for example, when you kill a player, you just punk the clown or the sad horn.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah,
instead
I
of
feel
doing
like
the
this
horde
is
on
back-
people, you just backflip after killing
Yeah,
them.
you backflip them after
Yeah,
you kill them. It's like, haha,
That'd
get
be kind of
nays.
awesome.
That
Just add a
would be
backflip button.
I take it back. This jetpack should be in the game.
Earlier, I didn't want the jetpack to become the next Oppressor Mark II, so I
Well, you failed. You failed
You
at that.
failed.
I mean, it can
Avoided-
go upside
failed.
down.
I mean,
It
it's still
can't
not the
go
next
upside
Mark II
down.
because it actually takes skill to fly.
giving the missiles a tracking buff. I just wanted the jetpack to be a better version of what it can already do. And these missiles do the job just
90
right.
degree angle.
There's also the case with the missile count. In single player, the missile ammo count isn't active, so it's always unlimited, but I do think the cap should be up to 60 or so missiles because
No! No! What are you doing?
From 30 to 60! 30 to 60!
No! No! If anything, it should only be 20
Let's
or
not make it the next
15.
Mark II. Anyway, let's let it spam you with missiles. 60 fucking missiles.
Welcome, Oppressor Mark III.
Meet the new score shot, or as I call it, the Firefly.
Kevin,
It's like-
at this point, we might as well just make a parody video of a Ghilliemaster rebalancing video.
Well, I was gonna
How
make a
can you
parody
parody
rebalance.
this? Already so dumb.
I was gonna make a parody on the Grouch rebalance, but for GTA, but Gilly already beat me to it with this playlist. I can't do it.
I mentioned the surprise at the beginning of the video, and what I tried to do was give the jetpack the ability to use drive-by weapons just like you could back in GTA San Andreas.
Just shout out to the Grouch though. He
Shout
really
out.
loves he really loves waiting for 8 seconds.
Fleet for 8 seconds is awesome. I mean, obviously it's bugged,
He's
but
sitting.
Okay.
It's fun. This is funny. He's just
Yeah.
sitting in the jetpack.
But the thing is, okay, Cabbage, it makes sense that in GTA San Andreas you can do drive-by because you can only hold with one hand on the jetpack, where
Yeah,
this one you have to hold both of them.
Yeah.
The difference
But
between
it
and also
doesn't
it
make
didn't
any
have
sense.
fucking missile launchers.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe if they redesign the handle.
Yeah, but just like look, imagine.
Look how well
trying to
he's.
get
Hold
this
on,
thing
hold on,
with
hold
a
on,
jet.
hold on. Shh. Just look at how
Yeah.
well he's flying while trying to shoot out this pedestrian.
Yeah, because he's in hover mode whenever he's doing this.
Yeah, so it's just
But the hover
infinitely
mode's stronger because of all the buffs.
Wait, this is confusing. Wait, you can switch thruster to hover mode?
If you're
You know
holding
when you
LB and
hold-
RB, it's hover mode for the jetpack, and you need to
Yeah.
use those buttons to use the drive-by as well. So you're basically automatically going into hover mode while using drive-by weapons. Okay. So
The only good thing was
I'm ready to put
the
this in. What the
system
fuck? Is there any objections?
Honestly, not really.
No, not really.
I'd
do
maybe
agree with
consider hello, but it's in
this one.
between what the fuck and hello.
I'm putting.
I don't think it's as bad as the others in what the fuck. I'm gonna be real.
Maybe not. Maybe like what here?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think it's on
no,
the
no,
same
no,
level
no,
as the
Cabbage.
B11. I don't think it's as bad as
90
the
degree
C-130
angle.
and the Mark II.
90-degree angle.
The 90-degree angle, man.
Yeah, the 90 degree.
The 90-degree angle is worse off with this
The 90-degree angle.
and this.
Being able to dodge jets
And
by doing
this.
fucking backflips and also
And
being able to shoot at them with FMJ.
Nah, in my opinion, it should be
Jesus
like the
Christ.
far right.
No. Get this out of here, because this is supposed to represent the box truck, and it's not even here. It's just like, here it is.
Last video discussing the current state of the explosive cannons and how they're objectively more powerful than any other weapon and just
Not
unhealthy for the
anymore.
online environment of
Not
GTA. You
anymore.
might have guessed this video is coming. But
Outdated.
today I bring you my new concept of Rebalanced Hydra, with some modifications that give it quite a big change in terms of where it stands in the meta in the game, while at the same time creating a much healthier jet that is still fun to play with. As we always do
This
with
guy's
this
version of
series,
Bleed for 8 seconds is Barrage, by the way. I've realized. Everything's got to have fucking Barrage.
Oh my god. Oh,
Meet the new Hydra, or as I like to call it, the Worm. Instead of normal
What the
homing
fuck?
missiles, Barrage for 8 seconds.
Hydra went wrong. The explosive cannons are busted. If you want a much
No longer applicable.
No longer a thing,
Yeah.
so.
more detailed
has been
explanation as to
granted.
why that is, I will leave a link to a video I posted on Monday detailing exactly that. Aside from that though, the Hydra just lacks identity. You can pretty much define the Hydra.
Oh, it doesn't.
Not really.
This is
It's
the
very unique.
speed glitch plane, buddy.
Like I'm curious of what he
It's
meant
fast.
by lacks of
It can
identity.
use Hydra
And-
slides to do cool shit for air to
Yeah,
ground and dogfights. It's very unique.
And even that, if you know how to fly the Hydra, you can just abuse the VTOL.
Please don't tell me I approved this back then. Okay,
So-
good.
Okay, thank God.
Old
Thank
and
you.
boring. There's really no situation where you would go, oh, let me grab a Hydra for that. That would be perfect.
Boring.
because
Let's add a
This
homing.
guy is ridiculous.
the laser is a better dogfighter and ground attack plane in its current state. And
Oh,
in
it
VTOL
isn't.
mode,
No, it isn't.
It definitely
You gotta-
isn't anymore.
it's just clunky and useless for anything aside from landing.
There it is, the professional.
In order to address those issues, I essentially completely repurposed and revamped the weapons to closely resemble what the Hydra was 17 years ago.
This isn't even a balance change. This is a nostalgia change.
For the newer
Why?
fans, and with that being said, the changes that are going to be shown off in this video are number 1, the explosive cannons are completely scrapped, and I mean the Hydra no longer has a machine gun on it at all.
Which granted.
No machine gun at all.
No gun. It's just barrage. Barrage for
Yeah,
8 seconds.
barrage.
pure
Barrage
missiles.
for 8 seconds.
The main guns on the Hydra will now be the double-fire free-fire rockets, just like in GTA San Andreas. Then for its secondary weapons, it's given a powerful homing missile that has slightly increased speed and increased tracking to match
Oh, he figured out tracking, guys. He figured out tracking.
Yay! He finally figured it out.
I figured it out, boys.
the Oppressor Mark II missile tracking.
Wait,
Also,
what?
his priorities for what he reworks are
Shush,
so
shush, shush, shush.
strange.
Wait. What the fuck did he just
A
say?
homing missile that has slightly increased speed and increased tracking to match the Oppressor Mark II missile tracking.
No!
What?
No.
He doesn't even
What?
consider his own rebalances when talking about this. What the fuck? People usually call the other one the Mark 1. But let's see.
Secondary weapons, it's given
A lot
a
of people
powerful
just
homing
call
missile
it
that
Oppressor.
has slightly increased speed and increased tracking to match the Oppressor Mark II missile tracking.
Oh yeah, this is back then
Did you say
when
Mark II?
Oppressor Mark II was super
It's
accurate.
right
I
here,
think.
bro. It's right
Ew.
here.
No.
So he's talking about the older Mark II tracking as well.
All of these
Ew.
guys were in
Isn't it
2021. Remember?
Yucky. He didn't
Yeah,
change
they-
the tracking, remember?
On
No.
the he didn't change the he couldn't he didn't know how to change the tracking on the other Mark II.
Yeah, he nerfed other stuff.
Yeah,
So,
but now he knows
this
how to
will have to
change the tracking,
rebalance.
and he's rebalancing it to the Mark II.
Chernobog rocket lock-on time is. So you have to track your target for some time in order to be able
The
to fire
same
these.
problem as the B11
Unfortunately, I am
rebalance.
unable to showcase the drawbacks or the increased tracking in-game because
Like, why not put this
Oh,
niche
never
on
mind.
No.
Never mind. He doesn't know how to increase the tracking. Never mind.
Yeah, he just excused himself out of it. It's like, no, I don't know how to show it in games. Like, okay.
Never mind. He didn't figure it out.
And aside from the weapons, the Hydra will be receiving a VTOL handling buff intended to allow more usability in
So the Hydra sliding against ground targets just got better, especially with double fire free aim rockets.
How these,
Like,
these
this is
rebalances
cool,
are-
but why does it have to replace the Hydra, man?
the VTOL mode,
This
and
isn't
the
that
armor will
bad.
be slightly
I know.
increased so that it can
Mhm.
take
Well, bruh, huh?
increased armor. Huh?
Considering
What?
the no gun, maybe.
That is a
Yeah, but-
hard baby, though.
more
Hold
explosive
on.
rounds while still being vulnerable to rockets. The way I recreated the dual missile design was by editing the spaced rocket weapon. This is normally a single fire homing missile with a cooldown, so a few changes had to be made here. First, in the audio department, it now has the sound of the Hunter Barrage missile.
Barrage for 8 seconds. God damn it.
Yeah.
Real.
The reload times were
A
heavily
fucking-
modified. They were all
God.
changed to -1 so that there's no cooldown after firing 2 missiles.
Oh,
Wow.
oh,
Mm-mm.
oh,
No.
Mm-mm.
oh.
No.
let's see,
Oh,
let's
no.
see that one again.
Modified. They were all changed to -1 so that there's no cooldown after firing 2 missiles. The time between shots
That's
value was
literally
changed from
missile
2 to
spamming.
.650, which is how often you'll be able to
Uh-oh.
fire the dual missiles.
This is like when. This is like in the. In the
On
early
the alternate way
Cold War, when missile technology was being developed, the Air Force was like, guns are outdated. All planes will have only missiles in the future.
I'm shaking in my boots with these changes.
Oh no.
time was gotten rid of completely, which is the most important change.
Alternate time,
because
time.
just that one change alone is what allows the missiles to shoot simultaneously. Then in order to make it free fire only, I edited the flags and got rid of the homing and the homing toggle ones. And one last change, the explosion of the missile. Now I had tested using the barrage missile explosion radius for the double rockets, but what I noticed is that the normal rocket explosion animation and the sound of the explosion just created a lot of visual and audible clutter. It just wasn't very pleasant to see or hear, so we're using the grenade explosion tag, which is much quieter and creates a lot less visual clutter on the screen. And the finished product here is a lot of fun, more fun than the cannons were.
That fire rate!
I've seen that slide though.
Dude!
It was straight up Tokyo Drift in that.
Less visual clutter on the screen. And the
Heck,
finished
look at
product
this.
here is a lot of fun,
Holy
more fun than the
shit.
cannons were in my opinion. With
Are you
another
kidding
positive
me?
being that they
No, he's not kidding you. He's not.
It's Tokyo.
He turned that shit into a fucking helicopter.
product here is a lot of fun, more fun than the cannons were in my opinion. With another positive being that they are much more balanced than the cannons are.
No? No.
Oh. No.
I mean, they are
You gave
worse.
No,
than the
he made
cannons.
a different problem. He made a different problem.
Let's take a look at the gameplay, shall we?
There's no limit either. You just keep doing it.
Yeah. Thank you, captions.
Wait a minute, but I thought it's not able to do free fire, isn't it?
No,
These
it's
are
only
the free
free
fire.
fire. No homing.
These are only for free fire.
Ah, okay.
And then there's a separate missile that's different in its homing.
The difference here is the launch speed, which was up from 1500 to 4000, which
What?
Wow.
Oh boy.
That must.
And
And
this
this
is-
to fly.
It's going to fly and it's supposed to have Mark II tracking, but he can't showcase that.
looks like a lot on paper, but it doesn't look that much faster in game.
Okay, but it's still gonna be faster in game.
It's still over twice as fast.
As I mentioned earlier, the gameplay you're about to
Guy, it
see
doesn't
doesn't
look
include
that much
all the
faster,
concepts
so
I want
it's
to
fine,
have, just
surely.
because I'm limited as to what I can do here. The homing missiles really shouldn't be able to fire until they full lock on, and the tracking should be much better too.
That's like Cherno missiles. Like pre-buff Cherno missiles.
I mean, yeah, visually it doesn't look that impressive, but
Those are effectively Cherno missiles. The way I'm
single
looking at
Cherno
them.
missiles.
Yeah. With Mark II tracking.
Yup. Again with his orbital missiles.
I don't know why, but there's something about this video that's very slow paced.
There's a couple. Now we have the.
Well, this is like my original draft when I was just gonna show too much Pizza Tower footage for the comparison before getting actually into it. That's what this is. There's just too much gameplay footage.
For
12
starters, I
is
lowered the
gameplay.
mass from 8,000 to 7,000.
Oh,
Oh, great. Make it more agile.
thanks, Ghilbert.
to make it feel a bit less like a boat in the air. The wind multiplier was cut in half, so you'll
What?
see less
Turbulence,
turbulence
I
when
think.
flying it.
That's not
Less
yeah,
that's-
that's
turbulence means
Whatever.
more accurate shots.
Oh,
About to get turbulence.
I mean, accuracy doesn't matter with those fucking missiles, man. You saw that.
Well, the
Hey,
free
you can
fire, the
stop
free
at
fire,
one
I
point.
mean. The free fire rockets.
Yeah.
Listen, the
And then for
free
the
fire
VTOL
rockets,
handling
it doesn't
specifically, I increased the thrust from 1.3 to 1.9, and this allows the
That is not
That's
as big
what
as I
led to-
thought that it was going to make it. I thought we were gonna see something like 16 times the details, a la Todd Howard.
build the jet downward and upward while in the
He is
VTOL
going
mode.
to
And in the
reduce
game right
that
now,
by
the
a
reason it's
lot.
so hard to do anything in VTOL mode is because you can't really aim downwards to hit
mode.
anything, so that got
What?
lowered a lot from
Aim
2.5 to 1.
downward.
Okay, it's not
Be
zero.
sideways when you activate it.
It's not
literally.
zero.
Yeah,
Okay,
it is
thank God it's not
zero, but
the
it is-
thruster all over again.
It is
Here
near
are a couple of
zero.
handling comparisons for the current Hydra to the
It's
Hydra
not
2.0.
Oh, that's pretty quick.
That's even more than the fucking Raiju.
Actually, it is. You're right.
Look at
Bro,
That's
they
faster than
Right-
most
right
helicopters.
mark
What
too.
the fuck?
Phantoms to a moon gravity?
That's more than helicopters.
Jesus.
Oh,
That shit's like twice as fast as the Hunter. What the fuck?
No.
he just
that
made,
is- that is faster
made
than
the
the-
best helicopter in the game.
Except it can
That's
just turn
faster than
into a
the
jet and
Akula.
fly away.
Yeah.
That's
Now
faster
you're
than the
dealing with
Akula.
jets that are just flying straight high up.
Please.
What?
What is he doing?
What? What?
He's tweaking.
He put the controller down by accident.
Damage multipliers went from
Oh, here we
0.5
go.
and 1.5 to 0.250 and 1 respectively. Normally the Hydra will blow up from just 2 explosive rounds in the live game. This change brings it up to 5 explosive rounds to blow up.
I guess.
That's fine.
It will also be more resistant to regular bullets, so it won't smoke as easily when being shot when
The fucking orbital.
trying to use it in VTOL mode, for instance. But there you have it, the Hydra 2.0.
Wait, you're not gonna show the rockets? Well, I guess if
did
it only
earlier.
takes 5e rounds, I meant like the rocket resistance.
So it's
But-
probably like one more rocket, so it's like the same as the other. No, because the other take 3 aircraft. It's probably like 5 missiles then.
I guess.
And I think this would be a
Okay, so
much
the armor
healthier
part's
version
not
of
so
the
bad.
vehicle, and it would just give it uses that it didn't have before, and just really stand out compared
I feel
to
like
what we
this
have now.
one's the first hello.
This is gonna have to be the first hello. This would be
It's-
fine. This would not be fine, but this could serve as its own vehicle if you made like a. Fuck, what year was San Andreas again?
2004. Wait, what?
San Andreas, what release year?
2004.
Okay, so if you just released the Hydra
Literally
again, but
20
called it
years
the
ago,
2004
as in
edition,
today or
and gave it
yesterday.
most of these features, then
Maybe it's just Y, actually. Maybe it's a Y.
this is the Hydra. I
Ryan
think.
Reynolds.
Pretty sure this was
What vehicle is it on the side of?
Yeah, that's the Hydra.
It's next to the
Well,
Insurgent
but-
This
Pickup
one's
Custom.
hard, because it's like... The actual vehicle concept isn't the worst, it's just the fact that it's replacing the Hydra.
Well, all of these replace their respective things in a way. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's
So
replacing
that's-
a vehicle that's like really unique and interesting. It's part of why I hated the B11 one so much outside of it being overpowered.
Mm,
And a lot of them, like the Chernobog is still the same kind of vehicle.
I don't think it's questionably fine as much as I want to put it up there. I'm gonna put it in bad. I'm gonna.
I
put
think
it,
that's
like,
your bias, because like the nothing's
That
gone in fine yet. Speaking where you want to put it there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not worse than the Chernobog.
It's
It's not-
definitely no.
It's not worse than the. Is it worse than the Savage? I don't think it's worse than the Savage.
I don't think it's worse than the Savage. The Savage got fucking gutted. I think it's kind of like the APC.
Yeah,
It's just dumb for different reasons, but it's around
I
the
think
same
it's
level
worse
of
than the
dumbness.
APC. This is like, they're pretty comparable for how much they change their respective regions of where they fight.
Brought lots of amazing vehicles into the game that are still used very much today. The Night Shark comes to mind. However, it also brought some vehicles that were really cool concepts but just aren't all that good in game. The Weaponized Tampa falls into that category. It's one of the nicest looking cars in the update with its various armor panels covering the vehicle, and its zoom miniguns are very powerful. But then why don't you ever see the Weaponized Tampa roaming the streets in
We're catching Toast up, and also I'm recording
Oh.
this time. I wasn't recording last time.
GTA Online? Well, it's because it's kind of flawed in its design. The Weaponized Tampa is armed up quite a bit, as you would imagine. It has 3 different explosive weapons on it, the free fire rockets on the front, the explosive mines it can place down, and the mortar on the back. And the amount of explosives it can take.
Pardon?
Why is he listing this under where it went wrong?
What, the
Where did it
3
go
different
wrong?
explosive
What-
weapons?
That line, for some
Dude,
reason,
that-
I imagined that one scene from Better Call Saul when they do the commercial. Where did everything go? Where did it go wrong? You know the old lady
Yeah.
commercial?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
If you were to even make the slightest of mistakes with one of those 3 explosive weapons I just mentioned, you're
Maybe
dead.
don't drive backwards while firing mortars. What the fuck?
Driving up a slight incline and manage to shoot one, it's gonna blow up in front of you, and then you're dead.
That's more believable and sensible.
The free fire rockets are kind
Yeah.
of useless on the Weaponized Tampa.
That
There's not really a situation where I'd want to use the free fire rockets over the strong dual miniguns. So when it comes to making this vehicle better, we first of all need to up the explosive resistance so it's less likely that you will end up killing yourself with the vehicle's own weapons. And this would of course make it less of a laughing stock against some of the other vehicles in the game as well. And then we're going to replace the Weaponized Tampa's terrible free fire rockets with some more useful ones. But starting with the armor, my thought process with this was that I wanted it to be similar to the Toreador and the Stromberg, and in order to do that, I had to first give it the flag for capped explosion damage so that it doesn't blow up in one hit anymore.
You were saying?
Oh, sorry, I might have mumbled. I was just saying, I remember this one's alright.
Yeah, this one we'll have our memory refresh and we'll see if this loses. By the way, for people watching at home, this is standing in for the box truck, but this is a joke rank, so it doesn't matter.
Multiplier from 1 and 1.5 to
I mean, I
0.2
wouldn't
and
like
0.250 to make it take a
truck
couple more
thing.
hits from
Oh,
rockets.
I wanna
And
play
in-game, this
Squirrel
comes
with
out
the
to the
gun.
Tampa blowing up in 3 to 4 rockets.
3 to 4 rockets is pretty fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically just a Toreador, but with no boost, no water. It's just a gun.
Well, yeah, because its gimmick is 3 weapons.
In single
Yeah.
player, the vehicle sets on fire after
I think
3,
it's
so
good,
it's
yeah.
essentially destroyed from that point on. But this amount gives it a little bit of resistance against, number 1, its own weapons, so you can now tank a few mine
Oh yeah, and the proxy mines. I forgot it has that.
hits and various other accidental explosions.
Yeah, I
And number
think the
2,
single
someone on
player
foot
is
isn't just going to be able to simply shoot one homing missile at you and delete you just like that. Now moving on to the Weaponized Tampa's offense, let's start with the bigger change. Instead of the useless free fire missiles, I gave it the Stromberg or Toreador missiles. The Stromberg and Toreador each have their special abilities, which are being able to go underwater, and for the Toreador also the boost. I consider the Weaponized Tampa's special ability to just be having more weapons, and that's why I went with these missiles. Just in general, having the homing missiles makes the vehicle so much more usable. You actually feel powerful in the Weaponized Tampa with this change, and you
Something
now have
that's
so
kind of
many
worth
offensive
noting
options.
is that there's no non-homing, it's just homing. So that doesn't really matter that much on this vehicle because it can't really get in the air like the Toreador and
Yeah.
Scramjet.
And I think that's fine, because if you need to free fire someone, you have the miniguns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Options, which is where the vehicle can shine. The missiles were good for air vehicles and fast-moving cars, the dual miniguns work great against people on foot, and the mortar and mines work very nicely for people chasing you. Now the lock-on sound doesn't actually work, I'm not quite sure why that is, but everything else works aside from that. They're the same missiles as the submarine cars, and they track the same as well. In single player, there are no ammo limits or rocket limits, but if I was to give the Weaponized Tampa a limit on the amount of rockets it has, I would give it only 20. With all things
Which is sensible.
considered, I think 20 would be a great amount. The only other change we
I
made
don't know
was to the
where-
spin times of the dual minigun. They were at 1 second each,
This video is
slightly
so
low.
well thought out, and then it just makes sense. It fits in with everything else. It's not crazy, and then he just makes all the other shit.
Yeah.
For them to 0.750, and the spin times are basically how long you have to hold the fire button down before the guns actually start firing. I felt it was a little too long before, so I lowered them by a tad. Other than that though, the dual miniguns are just fine how they are right now. Surprisingly,
Quality of life.
Rockstar made a vehicle machine gun actually good and balanced. And that is going to conclude the Weaponized Tampa Rebalance. Just to
And that's all he does. Something that I recommended is that the mortar should have been changed to something like the artillery truck from Battlefield 4. That you can fire a single mortar in like a radius on the minimap near you.
I'd also, yeah, maybe decrease the radius so that its main purpose is just like fuck you if you're roof camping and isn't like too ridiculous for like
No,
spamming people.
exactly. Like, I feel like there should be, like, there's probably going to be like a cooldown between the shots, but that's basically what I would want for it. Like, probably the cooldown would
That'd be
be
fun
until
too
that
for
mortar.
trolling.
The mortar's cooldown could be like, once the mortar hits, you can fire another one.
Yeah. I just like
couple of change.
I like the idea, but I don't know if it should be on a car because like you could kind of just run.
No, because, okay, so what I would also do is that you can't move while doing the mortar.
Yeah, like the Chernobog, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Changes is all it took to make the Weaponized Tampa good and viable. All it needed was a slight buff to its armor and a change.
Obviously
Anyway,
that's a little out of the scope of a simple rebalance, but it's a good idea.
just
Yeah,
due to
so
the fact that he
I think
does, due to the fact that he does very little while also making it sensible with what little he does.
And he explains why and what it would fit in with it.
He actually deserves to be here.
And he
still.
went out of his way to make sure it's not too ridiculous by like restricting the missiles to 20 max. Like, it's just smart.
Yeah.
I'd say it's about as good as the Annihilator stealth, but it's just better thought out.
For you know what it's gonna be.
Yep, another nostalgia balance.
Guys,
sure.
what if we just made the Savage, but again?
Of the
What if
crop
you
back
could
in
make
GTA 4.
the
It was the fastest
Annihilator
helicopter in the entire game and the only
homing
helicopter in the
barrage?
base game that was
No,
weaponized.
it doesn't-
In multiplayer, you feared this beast as the only way you could reliably take it out on the ground was with a rocket.
Powered, and you couldn't do anything about it. Yes, let's add it to GTA now.
The current climate of GTA Online, and the aspects of the vehicle that players preferred 13 years ago over today. So to summarize where the Annihilator went wrong, it just doesn't have the same uniqueness that it had in GTA 4. It lost its touch. On top
Well, it doesn't need to be what it was before, but I guess he has a point about lacking uniqueness compared to what we have, right? So it's a partial addressing of the problem. Decently accurately, once again. Toast, are you still awake? We haven't heard you in a while, I feel like.
Oh, sorry, I'm dozing out.
Yeah, he's EP.
He's gonna doze out.
of that, 8 years later, calling the Annihilator's defense outdated would be a massive understatement. Our power level as players creeped up, but the Annihilators stayed the same. The good thing is, not much needs to be done to the helicopter to make it viable in a current setting of GTA Online, so for this rebalance, the gun is generally going to remain the same, but it will have a few improvements to it. The biggest changes to the vehicle come in the handling and the armor department. The armor will be buffed to an amount that I feel is balanced for a helicopter of this size in 2021's GTA Online, and the handling will be buffed massively to give it that Grand Theft Auto 4 feeling again. First, for modding purposes, I replaced the guns that it used to have, which were the buzzard guns, with the gun from the Tula. This won't change anything as I copied all the aspects from the buzzer guns to the Tula gun to modify them. The only
What? What was the point then?
thing this does is allow me to modify the Annihilator guns without changing the guns on the buzzard at the same time because they...
Oh, okay.
The damage was at 30. I upped that to a staggering 300, which...
Oh.
10 times damage.
Alright.
I don't know about this one.
Looks like a massive upgrade, and it is, but it's not exactly that
And it is. Thank you. That's all we needed to hear.
much more powerful. However, this will pretty much guarantee a kill if you do manage to hit your target. The hit limbs damage
that's
modifier...
player damage? I'm fine with that.
Pardon?
If that's player damage, I'm fine with that.
However, this
If
will
it's not
pretty
player damage, then that sucks. It is
much
stupid.
guarantee
Yeah.
a kill if you do manage to hit your target. The hit limbs damage modifier is up from 0.5 to 0.75, and this is exactly what it sounds like. When you hit someone in the arm or leg, there is a damage reduction. It's different for every single weapon, and this change decreases that damage reduction. Next, the vehicle damage modifier is set to 0.350. Normally, the Annihilator guns don't specify a vehicle damage modifier, but this is needed because if there was no vehicle damage modifier on this gun, with the new 300 base damage paired with the other changes I'm about to talk about...
Huh?
He's making it not as busted against vehicles.
Oh, sure.
It would just instantly blow up cars the moment I shoot them, and we don't want that. That's way too overpowered. So with the the rate of fire. The rate of fire was at 0.04, which comes out to 1500 RPM. But for a helicopter to be called the Annihilator, we want to see that gun shredding like we've never seen it before. The helicopter is built around this 4 minigun combo, so I lower the time between shots to 0.005, which gives it 12,000.
Oh my god. I am pretty sure that's comparable.
Like 100 times DPS? What the fuck? This old.
I love how he doesn't even bother just putting the...
And it's crazy because the machine guns are already really good.
I know. He said he didn't want to change them much. Meanwhile, 12,000 RPM.
Meanwhile, nearly, like, almost a 100 times DPS increase. It's not actually. Oh yeah, the vehicle thing. The damage against vehicles. So it's probably more like a 20 times DPS, thinking about it.
It's still really strong is what we're looking at. It takes a little bit, but it's...
No, this is before.
Up next, let's take a look.
That's not
No,
what
it's not.
After yeah, this is after the changes. Like,
why did I
look at the lighting. Yeah, look at the lighting.
Yeah, how did you forget about the awful graphics pack, bro? What do you mean?
It's from 0.5 and 1.5. to 0.125 and
What the fuck,
0.250.
5 armor?
Probably.
Maybe 4.
And this allows the Annihilator to tank 2 rockets before blowing up on the third.
What?
Wow.
Oh, it's
Okay, so
3
three.
rockets. No, it's
Why did
3.
he phrase
Why
it
did he
like
say
that?
it like that? Why? Also, what the fuck is this stupid ass RPG texture that takes up the entire fucking screen?
That's the graphics mod. That's the graphics mod.
I
It's
know.
RPGs
Just like, what the fuck?
RPGs should have nukes in them. That's the average high explosive
Ghost just
anti-tank
woke up
round.
and saw orange on his screen.
No, okay, no, I just came back
This
because
is
I need
not-
to go bathroom, but it's busy. But what the hell did I just turn back on?
This is an RPG, but it's not an RPG. This is a rocket-propelled nuke.
It's a fat man.
RPN.
And for explosive rounds, it now takes 14 to blow it up, which is really what it needs in order to survive in today's environment.
Doesn't matter because a single one will cause it to have engine failure eventually.
For starters, the overall mass of the vehicle was lowered from 13,000 to 8,000, just to make it feel a tad lighter. These next
Just a
3 are
tad.
what give it the GTA 4 style handling that we all know and love. The thrust, this value determines how fast the helicopter can gain altitude, and I believe it also increases the top speed of the aircraft. That was raised from a putrid 0.47 to 1.2.
That is such
Okay.
a huge
Wow. The Annihilator, which is essentially a Black Hawk helicopter, is now an agile bird.
For this scenario with the Annihilator, I lowered it from 2.5 to 0.25. We don't want
You what the? At least there's no explosives on this one yet. But oh
Yeah, but
dear.
listen, here's the thing. Do you know the minimum damage? Let me look up the maximum player health in GTA Online. Let me look up the value for that.
Do. Ethan.
Wow.
Ethan.
Yeah.
Look at this.
That's just a little bird. That's just a little bird. Like, okay,
I feel like that's
I don't
more.
want. It's just a little bird.
Just a little lift. Just a little bit.
Look at that. No.
He almost flipped.
Oh my god.
No. No. Why would you want that?
Awesome, 90-degree angles.
Yep, the 90-degree angle is also fucked, but it's only machine guns right now, to be fair.
Yeah, sure.
No, also keep in mind, I think he made enough damage for machine guns to one-shot players, even
Yeah?
if they're at max health.
You'd have to. You
And
definitely
when you
have
have
enough
all
time
these
with the
handling
90
buffs
degree.
together, you can just track your targets so much easier. What I'm doing here is a technique that if you've ever played Battlefield, you probably have heard of it. It's called circling. It's basically a way to keep the target under fire.
Thanks, man. I never knew what circles were.
But there you have it, guys, the rebalanced Annihilator. I know it's been a while.
I don't think this one's as bad.
It's like almost. It's almost this, but like that handle is fucking change to the guns.
I don't even know.
I fuck it.
I feel like if we put it in the game, it wouldn't like be. That's like generous, but like.
This is
I'm a
generous, but my head hurts.
All right, one more to end it all. The laser.
The griefer's favorite toy, or for some, former favorite toy. This jet is very much a relic in GTA Online. With it being the game's first attack jet, it still gets used to this day, almost 9 years after the fact.
Did I prove this? No. We're good.
Despite all the updates and new
I think
vehicles,
this is
players
when
still
you started
gravitate
to
towards the laser
get out of
jet.
the
I wonder why that
Ghilliemaster
is.
echo chamber.
Video, I'm going to give the laser a bit of an update to fit more into the current version of GTA Online, changing it from a griefer's crutch to a vehicle that fits more into the current balance of the game.
Another intro. I don't care.
Get right into it, shall we? What went wrong with the laser? Honestly, if I were to be talking in the year 2013 or 2014, GTA Online's early days, I would say the laser isn't too much of a problem. Sure, it's always had the explosive cannons, which are OP, but back then, us as players weren't as experienced, so there were much less players who had the skill required to even fly a jet in an effective way. And in the early days of GTA Online, there were no hangars. The laser wasn't able to be purchased and called in from Pegasus, so if you wanted to reap the power of the laser, you had to drive all the way up to Fort Zancudo and steal one, hoping that you didn't get shot down in the process, or that the jet you stole isn't smoking from all the damage you received from the soldiers. Compare that to today, where you can simply buy a laser, store it in your hangar, or just call it in whenever you want through Pegasus, and what was once a hard vehicle to steal if you wanted a powerful jet is now just given to you whenever you'd like. So the laser simply suffers from the same thing a lot of vehicles do, where...
Yeah, like, they added so many vehicles in
response. The game, but it was better.
It was bad for the game, but they added vehicles that were in response to these cannons existing. And now those vehicles are running amok because these cannons no longer exist in the online.
As the game updates and expands, they are left behind in their old ways, which can either mean they're left as bad vehicles, like most of the original sports and supercars are, or in this case, overpowered. So for the rebalance of the laser, I had thought of many different concepts, but the main objective that I decided on was to turn it into more of a dogfighting aircraft instead of what it is now, being primarily used to destroy things on foot.
That's fine. I can get behind that, especially since people like to dogfight with the laser anyway, in jobs and just even before it got changed.
We might be ending on a high note. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, and so besides, the laser is based on...
Well, now, don't get your hopes up, Tack. Don't get your hopes up, Tack, because he's addressed problems correct.
Well, that'll make it more funny when he disappoints me horribly.
Barrages for 8 seconds.
He has a track record of accurately describing what the problem is and then not fixing it.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying.
For that reason, the explosive cannons are going to be gone completely. I know some griefers and sweaties are going to maul when they hear that, but the explosive cannons...
Okay, cool, thank you.
...just aren't healthy for the game, and they really should not be in any vehicle in modern-day GTA Online, in my opinion. It doesn't matter what...
Except the B11, apparently.
Except for the B11. Also... Ignore the fact that 700 Amani Tech vehicles exist.
What it is. However, that is the only nerf that's going to be getting.
Yeah, and we are in the Amani Tech era at this point. Look at how long ago this was.
Yeah.
Are buffs to the laser. Its handling, armor, and missiles I have all improved to aid in its dogfighting abilities. We'll start off with the changes to the main cannon because that is what the laser is known for. Like I said, I removed the explosive capabilities entirely, so they are no longer going to be shooting impact grenades at 1500.
Don't care.
RPM. To offset that though, the regular machine gun variant I did improve on. I increased the damage value from 30 to 100, which is more than a 3 times increase. And if you're confused about this, basically this is the main damage of the gun, not counting the explosive damage. Obviously we know the bulk of the damage did come from the explosive tag, which was the grenade, but since that is gone entirely, the damage needed a big increase to still be strong. The rate of fire I also doubled, so instead of 1500 RPM, they now fire at 3000 RPM at the...
This is the same as the Mark II! He put the Mark II machine guns as the same RPM as his rebalanced laser? Are you kidding me?
And also they do more damage. They do 100 damage. So
it is supposed to have a powerful gun. Maybe it's fine.
No, I've seen people.
What about jets?
I've seen people snipe infantry with the Molotov machine guns, and those machine guns are like they're worse. Imagine sniping people with these machine guns.
Oh my god!
Instant death.
This value of time between shots. And last but not least, the range of the main guns I increased from 180 to 250 because they are...
You're gonna be able to snipe people!
Big. That is big, but not as big as I thought he would do.
He seems to have learned a little since the B11 video, where he literally quadrupled the range.
Yeah, but what does it look like right now? I love how the hunter just dies.
It fell over so pathetically.
Like, it's pretty weak, but like, he's gonna give it other stuff. It might be fine.
I mean, it is weak, but it's gonna make it's gonna make a aircraft smoke instantly. So like, if you hit it with constant fire,
this shouldn't have pyro turn rate though. This should not have pyro turn rate.
I wish this could be comparable in like a 5M server, because I really want to see how his rebalanced laser as a whole does against the pyro.
To give the laser weapon some more uses, I also decided to buff its missiles in a few different ways. Firstly, I made them faster. I increased the launch speed of the rockets from 1500 to 4500, which...
What?
Oh my lord.
Can we stop doing this with the fucking missiles? Holy shit.
The brother wants War Thunder missiles. Go play War Thunder, Mike. Go play War Thunder.
Is a 3 times increase, so the rockets are much faster to fit that dogfighting role. And this also makes them a bit more useful at free aiming at ground targets. You
Oh my god.
won't have to lead as much as you would
Yikes,
before,
that's gonna
so it
be
kind of gives the
scary,
laser a
right?
secondary role being able to attack ground targets instead of the primary role of attacking ground targets with the explosive cannon that it is now. I also increased the rate of fire on the missiles. Right now, you have this awkward wait time in between each rocket you fire, so you fire one, wait a second, then you fire the second one, and then you have to wait another 3 seconds or so before firing another missile. What I did is decrease that
so
time between
awkward.
firing that second rocket so you can fire them back to back, and it just feels a lot better. Other than that, though, I changed the sound.
thruster missiles. God
Pardon?
damn it. He gave it the fucking same thing as the thruster. He'd shoot both at once because I can't aim.
I don't think he made it. Well, it's almost.
Out of the missiles
simultaneous.
to the barrage.
He made it like not as bad as the thruster.
Yeah, it's not quite as crazy, but it's the same thing where it's like
Yeah.
you shouldn't need to. All it affects is people who are bad at aiming.
Yeah.
Sound just because I think it sounds better when played back to back than the regular.
It's audio.
Barrage for
swear
8
to
Always
God,
talk to
This guy
Barrage.
has a barrage obsession. It's just real.
Barrage for
listen,
8 seconds.
If Ellie back then didn't exist, this guy will be the biggest hunter glazer of all time.
This guy is probably working on a time travel machine so he can beat Heli at being Project Heli.
This guy.
So you can see exactly what I'm talking about.
We don't need current. We do not need current. Oh my god.
So that is fast.
The free fires you could hit in a dogfight with that are insane.
Now for the most
Cutler
complex
should
part
watch
of the
Send the plane rebalances to Cutler.
I don't think I got those ties anymore. Someone else would have to talk to him.
And so my plan was that I wanted to improve the handling to essentially make it feel like a laser would feel if it was able to have a race handling like the Smuggler's Run aircraft have. So I took measures to make it feel a bit more responsive and agile, but not go too far from the original handling that it had. I first lowered the mass by 1,000 from 8,000 to 7,000, which doesn't make a huge difference, but it feels like it does help a tad bit with the inertia while flying. The yaw multiplier is how much the aircraft responds to you using the rudder, so when you press LB and RB, the aircraft will either move to the left or the right. On aircraft like the Pyro and the Rogue, this stat is very high as they have very responsive rudders. On the laser here, it's very low, which is a staple of its handling, so I didn't want to change this drastically. It went from negative 0.001 to negative 0.002, and the reason it's negative
Thanks.
is because if it's positive,
Pardon?
Say double O. Why didn't he just say?
Good question.
then pressing RB or R1 will make your plane go to the left, and pressing L1 and LB will make it go to the right. It kind of flips the controls. With this change though, it does give it a little more rudder responsiveness without going too overboard with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair one.
The roll molt variable is what controls the sensitivity the aircraft has to, well, rolling in the air. The higher the value, the easier it's going to be to roll. I increased it slightly from 0.009 to 0.012.
Oh, right. Hold on. Oh my.
Cow. That's Alpha Z.
Oh my god, that is nauseating. Put a VR headset on and fly that.
No.
Pitch
You're gonna
volt is
vomit.
what controls how much the aircraft turns up or down with your input, and is probably the most important variable when it comes to dogfighting and general agility, because this will directly influence how tight it can turn in a circle. I brought this from 0.002 to 0.002650, which doesn't seem like a big increase. Trust me though, it does make a very noticeable difference. I went through multiple tests with different numbers here, and if you increase it too much, the aircraft gets a little too responsive, so I had to find the right balance.
Holy crap.
That is a pretty tight circle.
It's like the Starling level.
For the attack lift and attack dive multipliers, in helicopters, this is what controls auto stabilization. If you put it to 0, it lets you turn the helicopter as much as you want. I'm honestly not 100% sure what it does for jets, but from playing with different
My mic's
numbers,
been
I
muted
decided...
this whole time. Oh my god.
Yeah,
that is
thoughts.
Yeah, so that is the same rudder as the pyro and more pitch than the pyro. It is the second best dogfighter in the game now.
He just made it better than the pyro. Got it.
Yeah, with a better gun.
Wow.
Great.
I had to just make them both even at .0250, and it...
Also, he doesn't know what this does for jets, so he's just changing this. Just because he
Why?
was obligated to.
Because the original is boring.
Dude, who in the comments was gonna go, but Gilly, you forgot about the attack lift multiplier.
Make them both even at .0250, and it felt fine there. Wind multiplier I lowered from .12 to .02 just because...
What?
Almost no
turbulence, but why?
No turbulence.
Well,
he's
gonna
so
explain
good at
there, I
dogfighting.
guess. He said he's gonna explain why.
Yeah, but it's gonna make it good at dogfighting.
Wind is annoying
It has
when flying.
insane guns.
Wait, hold on. Here's his reason for why he did that. Everyone shut up and listen.
Wind multiplier I lowered from .12 to .02 just because wind is annoying when flying.
Yeah, it's just annoying.
It's just annoying.
Yeah, it's just annoying, dude.
He's not wrong.
I mean, I guess he doesn't want it to be like in real life, I guess.
I think.
Oh dear.
Like, really?
And lastly, I improved the laser's ability to glide while its engine is turned off by raising this value to .9 from .1.
Oh my god. This doesn't... Like, when is this applicable, I guess? But okay then, thank you.
A value of 1 here would make it so it retains full control just as if the engine was on while the engine is turned off, and...
So you basically gave it near control. That's really cool, man. That's really cool.
Oh, so now it does the Starling thing where it can still turn and do shit while the engine's off. Wow, cool.
This allows you to do some really cool maneuvers and very slow moving strafe runs with the jet without crashing. It's very cool.
Ah, great. We get an actual visual. Hold on.
Well, you're just gonna be able to control the
It's
plane
actually
so well.
Starling. It is actually just... He just combined the Pyro and the Starling.
He combined the pyro and the Starling, and then he gave it the fucking, like...
Look how quick you recovered! He timed it just right, but like...
Holy cow.
Oh, by the way, because of the Hydra and the laser rebalance, I feel like this needs to be moved past the Mark II.
It'll be staying part of my tier list.
It's still in the same tier, but this needs to be like... I feel like the AC-130 is worse off now, because your only choice would be B-11s.
Yeah.
There is, like, actually no anti-air in his world here.
Well, there's no anti-armor.
There's no anti-armor in his world. It's, like, proper. But there is not.
And with
really
all these
too
changes
much
combined, you can
anti-air
utilize the pitch and rudder control at the right time to get a really sharp turn, which would help out immensely in dogfighting or just to get out of certain situations.
What the fuck?
Holy cow.
Look at this, Ethan.
Right time to get a really sharp turn, which would help out immensely in dogfighting or just to get out of certain situations.
Literally.
What situation
This
requires
thing
that
is better
maneuver?
than the Starling. This thing is better than the Starling, by the way. Because the Starling has all the... It's for in exchange for its crazy turn rate. It has so many downsides.
Oh,
And then
that
this
is
thing is like a
absolutely
jet with a really good gun and almost as good turn rate.
Well, this guy used to be a Starling pilot, so he just took the Pyro and the
Makes
Starling.
sense.
Oh,
He used to be a professional. He used to be a professional fanboy, but now he's just fine.
You know, why do I feel like this is some like a psychological thing going on? We're just deeply understanding behind the mind of Ghilliemaster when he thought about these.
Pretty
You know, he's a
much.
Starling plane. He got PTSD from lasers. Like we see some sort of pattern in these videos. Projecting.
He used to be a Starling pilot, and he used to use the Hunter a lot when fighting Mark IIs. That's his psychological profile here.
Yeah.
So insane.
The final thing that I wanted to change with the laser was the armor. It now should be brought up to the same level that the other planes have, so I lowered the weapon damage and engine damage multipliers so that the laser can now take 3 explosive rounds instead of the 2 that it could before. There you have it, the modern day laser, or at least what I would do to change the laser.
Okay, it's over. It's finally over.
It is. Yeah,
That one, it's like, I think it's pretty busted. I think it's easily the best dog fighter.
It's
Because,
pretty
like, the
busted,
Starling
but I
has
don't think it's
downsides
as
to-
bad as the what the fucks.
Yeah. Hello.
That is.
Yeah, I think that fits.